injury lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're listening to 1130 The Tiger up in Shreveport, you're watching with us on CST or on YouTube, 104.5 ESPN, the page, or the Hangin with Hester and Hanny page. Welcome in to the show this afternoon. Cade Waz, our audio producer. Paul O'Neill, our video producer. Playboy Marty is here again. And I'm happy to report that we're able to start the show today because I made a little bit of an adjustment with an agreement we had made earlier today. See, the Braves started at 11 o'clock this morning in their game, and I was told that we weren't going to start the show until they scored a run. But I made a little bit of an adjustment. I decided that we needed to start the show before they scored a run because they might not score a run for the next 3 or 4 hours.
Hey, chill out. They won yesterday's game. Doesn't matter when you win it. It's do you win it. And by the way, my baseball team, the Atlanta Braves, you know what they didn't do yesterday? Lose to the Miami Marlins, Hunt Palmer.
You can deal with that in an hour, okay? He's Captain Longface will be here about 1 o'clock with the Cubs performance yesterday. We left. When did we do? Was it 10th inning when we finished the show yesterday?
I think so. I think we were sitting. We basically right when the AFR music hit, we were still watching TV in the studio. I think we were making Matt a little nervous.
We were, which was fine, but we're not talking about what are we in now? We're going to the 4th inning. We're not talking about 18 innings of baseball for 2 professional baseball teams, and they've scored 1 run between them.
And the Braves' offense was one of the best offenses that we've seen in a long time.
Not
as home runs per games.
Not so much
in the regular season.
What we've seen so far. Yeah, yesterday was a historic sports day with 8 Major League Baseball games in the playoffs, which of course has never happened before. And to be honest with you, while yesterday was great, I'm not endorsing this format moving forward. But yesterday, and game 1 of the NBA Finals in the middle of all that, which of course the baseball playoffs and the basketball playoffs never at the same time before, and again, hopefully never again. But what did you get a chance to watch once you watched 15 innings of 1-run baseball? I mean, I like a good pitcher.
I don't know why you keep bringing it up like they lost.
No,
they won the game.
It's just an observation. Right, it's just an observation. I walked in here an hour ago, and Paul O'Neill was on his 9th cup of coffee this morning. You're just a little bit nervous, but hey, listen.
But to answer your question, because I'm reading through what you're trying to do here, I watched a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I didn't dial in as much to the finals game. I was there early. And the Heat looked like they were going to not run away with it, but they were going to control the pace of the game and all those type of things in the first quarter. And then here came the Lakers.
So I watched most of the game while we were doing the show last night. But what I saw was, and then I saw the end of the game. By the time the show was over, I think the outcome was no longer in doubt. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
What I saw was a much bigger basketball team.
And you said that.
Much bigger basketball team in the Lakers, and their length and their size gave they gave the Heat problems. Okay, and that's being nice. They crushed them on the boards. They got open looks. They gave all the Miami players some problems, but there were things other than that. The 3 injuries have crushed Miami. If those guys can't go, or if they're limited in their go, then Miami has no chance. Bam Adebayo, Goran Dragic, and Jimmy Butler. Butler returned to the game. He's the only one that played a whole lot. And I thought that he was watching him come back in the 3rd quarter, the very first play that they make, he makes a running drive, hits a bank shot, and gets fouled. And he's okay, but I wonder what that ankle looks like today, because if you saw the exact – You know what this is like when your ankle goes sideways a little bit. I don't. What happens a day later? You can play through the adrenaline and what.
You can definitely play.
But
through
then, what does it look like the next day?
Then it's going to be swollen. But the main thing is, no matter what you really try to do, it's going to be incredibly stiff the next day. It's almost going to be like you're a pirate and you have a peg leg. That's what you're going to be walking around with. You're not going to be able to bend it. You're not going to be able to push off of it. either, and so I don't know how he comes back from that one. I mean, he's gritty. I think he's proven that, but I don't know how much he can truly do with that, if it is in fact what it looked like.
So the first thing is the size advantage and the massive rebounding advantage. The second thing is
at times, Hanny, they just tossed it up, and almost like pee-wee basketball. You've got the one tall kid, you throw it up, he just grabs it over your head, turns, and makes a bucket.
So you got the size advantage, you got the injuries, and then the third thing was, what do you do defensively? Because Eric Spoelstra is an excellent coach.
Yeah. What
do you do strategically? And the first thing that he decided was that they were going to switch on pretty much everything.
Right.
That worked until LeBron James figured out that he could get one-on-one with Tyler Hero.
Yep.
And as soon as he figured that out, it didn't take long. As soon as he figured that out somewhere in the second quarter, well, then it was just a matter, really more in the second half, but
yeah.
it was just a matter of whoever Hero was on, you come this way, you'll set a pick, I'll have Hero on me, and then I'm going to score. Tyler Hero's had a great season. Okay, and he's been fantastic in the playoffs. He was minus 35 last night because LeBron James figured out he could get one-on-one with Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
And Tyler Hero shouldn't be expected to guard LeBron James. So they got into a zone for about a half a dozen or so possessions, and it's something that they gave the Celtics problems, but it didn't give the Lakers any problems. And then when you get past all of that, the Lakers made 15 threes. And that was something else I said yesterday. Listen, if Rondo's going to make threes, and he only made one, but Markieff Morris made 2, and Caldwell Pope made 2, and Danny Green made 3. Well, and then Davis and James are just Davis and James. Well, I mean, what chance do you have? I was looking forward to a really competitive series. We may yet get it, but two things have to happen. Number one, those players have got to come back healthy. Without Bam Adebayo, the Heat have no chance. So he's got to play, and without Jimmy Butler, the Heat have no chance. I really think that without Goran Dragic, the Heat have no chance, and a lot of people will tell me that even with those three guys, the Heat have no chance. But I think the Heat can be competitive with those three, whether they can come back in various stages of readiness. The other thing is that Spoelstra's got to come up with something different. Yeah. That he can't switch off on everything. LeBron's just going to feast. And I don't know what you do with that because you don't have anybody.
If Bam can't go, that's key.
That's it. I mean,
he's the only one defensively that can give you something. Right, he's kind of a unicorn on defense and what he can do. If he's not in the game, you got no hope.
And Anthony Davis came up with what I think is the biggest game of his career. Now, the biggest shot of his career was the 3 he hit against Denver, but this was the biggest game. This is his first ever game in the finals, and he goes 34-9. He has 5 assists. He has 3 blocks. He made all of his free throws, and he simply couldn't be guarded last night. That's the game that everybody's waiting for to say you are now in upper superstar class. Mm-hmm. He's always been a superstar talent, but sometimes in the big games in New Orleans where he had to be the alpha dog, it just wasn't there. Maybe he didn't have the supporting cast. Now he's been a wonderful Robin to LeBron's Batman, and on a lot of nights he's been better than LeBron. Last night was one of those nights, but it was in the finals. And if you look at his game in the finals, for a first game in the finals with the Lakers, it rivaled O'Neal, Abdul-Jabbar, Chamberlain, and some of the stat lines that they had.
Can we stop talking nice about Anthony Davis? My goodness.
You haven't liked anything I've said in the open, man. I criticized the Braves because they scored
the Braves can't hit. You're talking about the guy that left New Orleans because he wanted to go team up with LeBron, wanted a bigger city, didn't want to be a Pelican. You're the one. I mean,
Is there a topic that would, you would prefer? Because I got all kind of stuff today. There's no shortage of stuff. I mean, I haven't, by the way, said anything that was untrue. I think
I know,
but
that's part of the problem.
You're right. I mean, you don't like it when the truth somehow is interfering with what you want to happen, right? But such is life. There is good news. We're just a couple of days away from SEC football. It's Thursday. We got Thursday night football, such as it is. I woke up this morning and found out, by the way, today is the beginning of the fourth quarter of 2020. Okay. So
yes, it is.
You ever had a really, really bad football game?
Get them up, fourth quarter.
Yeah, okay. You ever had a really, really bad football game and you're like, hey, this is the fourth quarter. I'm ready to get through it?
A time or two.
Okay. Well, this is the fourth quarter of 2020. The year that we all hope ended yesterday, but we're at least into the fourth quarter. I woke up this morning, and it's just another reminder that it's still 2020. The Jets are favored in a football game tonight. The New York Jets are favored to win an NFL football game.
Yeah,
just another day in 2020.
Like I said, I'm in charge of doing the NFL promos here for the station.
You do a great job with that. By the way,
last week I was really trying to sell the Dolphins Jaguars. I'm going to try here. Tune in tonight as we kick off Week 4 with the New York Jets hosting the Denver Broncos. The NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. How'd I do?
I thought that was great. You know what the best thing about the way you do promos is that they sound nothing like me. I don't have to do them. You just sold 2 0-3 teams tonight, of which the home 0-3 team.
There's going to be some really bad quarterback play. Some really bad coaching decisions. But know what? It's okay. Listen to it.
We're going to have a crying towel for Hunt Palmer when he gets here at 1 o'clock. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
One thing I did want to ask you before we get out of the first block here, the Astros with a losing record knock out the Minnesota Twins because of the new format. How do you feel about that?
I told you when this started that they were letting too many teams in the playoffs, and this is the result of it. The 7-9 Seattle Seahawks get into the NFL playoffs on a quirk.
8-8 Chargers made it to the second round one year.
Well, at 8-8, sometimes it works out that way. But if you let me just put this in the edict of sports axioms, okay? Thou has a losing record, thou shalt not make the playoffs.
I like that.
Okay,
it's like
it's across any sport.
Same bowl game too.
Yeah, any sport, any year, you have a losing record, you don't make the playoffs. High school, college, pros, international. They ever have football on the moon? They don't make it either. Okay, but that was what they were trying to make up some cash because of 2020.
Yep.
Okay, that's my stock answer to everything else is 2020.
And how about this? If I'm not mistaken, the Astros will play the next round in Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I think that's
irony
right.
in that.
Oh, look, Georgia and Auburn are playing in 2 days, and my calendar says it's October the 1st. So that's a little bit strange. What isn't strange?
Or if they hide the trash cans.
First day of the fourth quarter. Okay. First day of the fourth quarter. We'll take a break. Back on the other side, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air, a independent dealer of the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning Systems. You know, when they put this unit in my home, the first thing I wanted to see was what was going to happen to my energy bills, and I found out immediately. They went down. The efficiency of the American Standard allowed me to program that thermostat so I was never wasting energy. It allowed me to change at a moment's notice because I could program it from my cell phone. And when it ran in a cool, efficient manner, but the efficiency saved me money every single month.
All about saving money as well, Hanny. That's what you're going to do with that Comfort Assurance Protection Plan, that seasonal maintenance discounts on parts and labors. You're also going to save money because you're going to get increased equipment life as well. Lower utilities like Hanny's talking about, because properly maintained heating and cooling equipment can always save you money with those lower utility bills. Emergency service, priority service, increased comfort as well. All that part of the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan. You can find that at tiger-air.com.
Off the Bench, hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Ken Trahan at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk Saints. CrescentCitySports.com with Ken Trahan. Bill Bender from the Sporting News in the 1 o'clock hour. Derek Mason was asked a question yesterday, the head coach at Vanderbilt. This is something that you always like to get the opposing side of view. And I know he's going to keep this, fairly vanilla because it's his opponent this week, but it's been a hot topic, I would say. What's the difference between Bo Pellini's defense and Dave Miranda's defense?
Well, both of those gentlemen, have been head coaches, man. They're strong defensive minds, probably two of the best in the country. So, with that, man, it's just about adapting to new coaching style and figuring out, players and what you have. I mean, obviously a year ago, LSU was a much different football team, in terms of, talent and what they had in terms of experience. And when you get talent and experience, especially guys being in the same system, it's going to look a little different. College football is a junior, senior sport. This year, under Bo Pellini, who's one of the best defensive minds in the country, they're just adjusting. It's game one. I'm not too over the top about, what game ones mean, because there's just a lot of room for growth.
I want to ask you about game ones. Game one for Bo Pellini this time around, we've talked about plenty. I want to talk about game one the last time because you were on the sideline. Now, you were on the offensive side of the ball, but This was the Katrina game out at Arizona State. And
Sam
Keller looked like Joe Montana that night because the LSU defense.
Say Jake Plummer just because of the uniform.
Yeah, but Joe Montana was better. Sam Keller was, for one night, was all world. I don't know that he ever was besides that, but that night, and I remember doing the post game. Gordy and I were talking, and Gordy said there is a lack of communication. The coaches speak in one language and the defensive backs are speaking another language. Now, you were on the sideline. Before we get to this, I'm going to ask you about that. Was there a lot of confusion on the sideline that night?
Oh, man, that game was so long ago, but I do remember there kind of being a little bit of chaos. It was Les's first game. It was supposed to be at home. All those things. Sure. I mean, everybody knows kind of how that story played out, and we we kind of got lucky in that game. We block a field goal, pick it up. I block a punt. Stelzy picks it up. We score in the last play. If we have replay, who knows if that's all right. Yeah. And so, but you found a way to win ugly, and that's what you were hoping if you're an LSU fan, right? With all the miscommunication, with all the chaos, you thought, oh well, they're gonna find a way. We tied it up 34. They're gonna win this game. It's gonna be ugly. We're gonna have coaching points. Well, you didn't. You lost the game. And so obviously that pressure, it rises a little bit, and those communication issues have to get fixed. And it's hard to compare a game that happened 15 years ago to one that happened today, but you'd like to see growth. The thing about that 2005 season that is encouraging is that's how you started out with that game, and then you lose on a Monday night in a game, you're up 21-0 at halftime, but you find a way to run the table without a bye week and get into the SEC championship game. Now, we got housed by Georgia, but that team figured it out, and they figured it out quickly. I mean, third game of the season, you got to start to see it translate in this game. That's been our theme, right? Yeah. There's nothing that you can do out there against Vanderbilt that fans are going to feel better about, but internally, there's a lot you can do.
They did figure it out that year. So what happened after the first game? It seemed to me that, if I'm remembering correctly, there was a decent amount of zone in that first game, and everybody said, why in the hell didn't you play more man? And this was exactly the opposite. They played almost exclusively man, and everybody was like, why didn't you play some more zone? Am I remembering that game right, that they were in a zone that they didn't completely have a grasp on just yet?
If I'm not mistaken, I think you're exactly right. And we had a little bit – our safeties were different at that time. Jesse Daniels, Lorraine Landry, really good against the run. Not known really as man coverage type of guys. No, very, very good safeties, all conference type players, but that's what you did. So that's what the question was this week. Well, once you saw you couldn't play man because of your personnel, why wasn't there adjustment to play maybe a little bit more of zone? And so you get one guy back. Let's see what the game plan is. Because if they go out there and there's no adjustments made and they start to throw the ball on them, then that heat and that talk's going to only go up.
Especially since this is not Mike Leach on the other side. Okay, you're not talking about the air raid this week with Vanderbilt. Derek Mason with some more on LSU.
LSU is a good football team, regardless of what transpired last week. We all know from week 1 to week 2, adjustments are made. And our football team's got to make necessary adjustments to handle who they are and what they do. So we look forward to the challenge. It's a great opportunity and to be at home in our stadium. And we're excited to get back on the grass on Saturday.
Excited to be back in an empty stadium, though.
There's some students in there.
A few students.
If anybody's used to playing in front of a few people, it's Vanderbilt. Well, at least people that are cheering for them, we should say.
What is your impression of Mason as a coach? What he's done at Vanderbilt?
That job it's not desirable to me. I can tell you that it's an uphill battle. You're fighting so many challenges, not only from who you're playing, but really the support that you get from your own institution. That's why James Franklin, what he was able to do there, is miraculous. I mean, he had that program winning games they shouldn't have. They were relevant. They were, actually respectable. That job is such an uphill battle. You got different standards to get into this place. You're recruiting against, Tennessee every single year, Kentucky now, Clemson, South Carolina, kind of in your own region.
How long has he been there? I'm asking for a reason.
6 years?
It's 7 now. Okay. The reason I'm asking that is how long has he been there? How was James Franklin there? Not that long. It's been 7 years now. Okay. And he's won 10 SEC games in 7 years. He's averaging about 1.5 wins a year. And there's an argument to be made that regardless of what happens this year, he'll get another one for just what you're talking about. Right? And COVID aside, just what you're talking about. They've made it to 2 bowl games, both with 6-6 records. They lost both of them. This is what is called doing a good job at Vanderbilt. When I say a good job, keep your job at Vanderbilt. This record at any other place in the SEC gets you fired in half the time. I'm talking 13 for Missouri gets you fired.
6-6 just got Barry Odom fired.
Right. Okay. So this record gets you fired in half the time at any other university.
I don't want to get off too far, but if you're Vanderbilt, what's the solution? I almost feel like you have to be gimmicky. And I don't mean that disrespectful. Mississippi State now is gimmicky, but one game sample, it's worked pretty good, right? And so when you can't get the same caliber of athlete, I go get Willie Fritz. I go get somebody that
you're gonna run the option. Or
I do something.
Like that.
I do something different. I do something that's unique to Vanderbilt that we might not be able to recruit on your same level. But I tell you what, because of who we are, we know our system. You have to prepare for us. It's something different because you're never going to line up and run the spread and win 5-6 games in the SEC. It's just not going to happen.
No, they've tried it a lot of different ways. They've hired good coordinators in the past. They brought in Rod Dowhauer, who had been an NFL head coach. Right. They brought in Woody Woodenhofer, who had been a defensive coordinator with the Steelers. They brought in Jerry DiNardo, who had a reasonable amount of success there. I mean, he had won 4 and 5 games there a couple of times, which was good. The problem with Vandy is like any other school that has that sort of commitment to athletics, which is you get somebody really good and they're going to come steal them from you. Right. So short of a major financial commitment, which is not going to happen.
Jay Cutler's open.
Well, you think Jay Cutler wants to coach football?
Can you imagine Jay Cutler?
He didn't want to play football. You think he wants to
remember
coach
the old
football?
days when people would be burning heaters on the just pulling heater after heater on the sideline? That'd be cut.
But you bring up an interesting point, because if you got an option coach that would do something like that, you're not going to have people clamoring to go get him, because nobody that's got a bunch of money wants to run that anymore. And you might be able to win. Well, isn't it going to be the same amount of games though? Isn't it going to be about the same amount of games?
No, I think it can be better.
A little bit better.
A little bit. Yeah. It's never going to be.
It can be a lot better, but you're going to lose your coach. Yeah. If you do go out and you find the young guy that's maybe he's too young, but you take a chance and you hire him. What if Vanderbilt had hired Joe Brady at 30, and everybody said, well, he's too young. Well, okay, but we gave him a shot. It turned out he was great. Well, how long is Joe Brady going to be there? Yeah. 15 minutes after his first bowl win, he signed a contract somewhere else. So, and the chances of you hitting on a Joe Brady at that age are probably 1 in 20 at best. Right. I mean, maybe you got a 5% chance. You got a much better chance of taking a too young Lane Kiffin and him having a stint like he had with the Raiders, because he's not ready to do it.
Before we take this next break, I do have an update on Sam Keller. You asked, did we hear about him?
We
after
mentioned
that?
Sam Keller. Yeah,
Sam
Keller
went
to Nebraska. Right?
He transferred to Nebraska, where he holds the single-season completion percentage record at 63%. Single-game completions with 36 versus USC. He was the scout team MVP after he transferred in 2006, Hanny, and he was the Sun Bowl most valuable player at Arizona State that same year. Oh, no, actually the year before. Sorry, 2004. He played professionally for the Las Vegas Avengers in the Arena League for 1 year.
The Braves still haven't scored.
I'm aware.
Ken Trahan, when we come back, this is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, Tiger fans, as a former LSU student athlete, I can tell you your Tigers give 110% each day. They not only have to commit to winning on the field and in competition, but also in the classroom. LSU Athletics is one of the very few programs in the nation who has remained self-sufficient in its operations during this very difficult year of 2020. Due to the restrictions around COVID-19, the loss of essential revenue to LSU Athletics will be in the tens of millions of dollars. This is a good time to remind ourselves that we're Tigers and our go never stops. LSU and Tiger Athletic Foundation is urging everyone to donate to the Victory Fund to help keep LSU student athletes going. The Victory Fund will provide financial support for the most critical areas of need, including scholarships, healthcare, and academic support for student athletes. Your support is critical to the future of LSU athletics. You can learn more information. You can donate at victory.lsutaf.org. I can tell you, as a former student athlete, man, the Tiger Athletic Foundation does so many great things for LSU athletics. Continue to support.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast.
Coming up on Tuesdays Off the Bench, it's game week, and Coach O stops by to break it down. Plus, Derek Stingley Sr. in his regular Tuesday slot. My man Nick Underhill breaks down the Saints, and a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Now we're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. They go to the fifth, scoreless Atlanta and Cincinnati. No reaction at all? You just, you're resigned to the fact.
The Reds don't have a 1 next to it and the score stays the same. It played out last night, or yesterday, I should say, yesterday afternoon, the way that I wanted it to play out. So I'm having faith in my team, Hanny.
Okay.
Pitching staff, we got a young rookie out there.
You stranded all those runners in extra innings yesterday. I didn't see a whole lot of confidence in you. It was more of a little bit of frustration.
Well, you need to learn how to read body language in, Hanny. I was so confident.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I read it. Join us now from CrescentCitySports.com is Ken Trahan. Ken, good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. The Reds may score a run by 2021. As a lifelong St. Louis Cardinals fan, it doesn't bother me a great deal.
Yeah,
there you go.
All good.
Ken, I found something this morning, and I said, boy, you want to talk about take things out of context. The Saints are a top 10 defense in the NFL. as long as y'all only count yards given up per game, they're the number 10 yards defense, but they're 27th in points allowed, which is a lot closer barometer to what they are. And the great equalizer is the penalties. The Saints are giving up roughly 30% more in penalty yardage than the next worst team in the NFL. So you tell me defensively what the biggest issues have been.
Yeah, that's a lie, obviously. Total yardage doesn't compute penalty yardage. And the Saints are far and away on top in that regard. With regard to the Saints' defense, it's a combination of things, clearly. Look, the best pass defense is a pass rush. They haven't generated enough. When your best guy has no sacks in 3 games, that tells you a large story. And I don't care if they're chipping him or doubling him. You've got to be able to get some pressure at some point, in particular, when your other alleged pass rusher hasn't been on the field yet, and Marcus Davenport. And, oh, by the way, you drafted Zach Bond, who was supposed to be as strong at rushing the passer from the outside, and we haven't even seen him. So, yeah, the pass rush is an issue. Linebackers, look, outside of Demario Davis, an issue. And then the secondary clearly is a big issue. The interesting dynamic there is that many of us, myself included, look pretty stupid because I called this the best secondary the New Orleans Saints have ever had in the history of the franchise. From a talent perspective, it certainly looked that way. From a performance perspective, it has not been that way. So it is a collective failure defensively. They played well in the Tampa Bay game. You give credit where credit's due, but that was the first game out of the box for a new system and a new quarterback and a new running back and a new tight end and so forth and so on. So there's that. But, yeah, I think collectively, defensively, they have been less than stellar. They've been poor. And when your coach makes the statement yesterday that you played the bootleg and play action like a quote-unquote high school team, that kind of is revealing, and it's kind of throwing some element of it under the bus too.
The defensive pass interferences, have been something that have showed up. Look, right, wrong, or indifferent with some of the calls. It is costing them games, and it's costing them games because they're happening in key moments when the Saints defense is trying to get off the field. That's when the yellow laundry is coming out, and it's something they've got to get fixed.
Well, you've got to play better technique-wise, and Peyton said that yesterday too. You've got to keep your hands off of people at the appropriate times. I'm not saying you don't keep your hands off them all the time, because obviously you're going to need to do some steering at some point in time to play the game the way it's played today with the advantages the offense has. But it's way too much of it, and then the interference stuff is incredulous. Some of it is debatable. Some of it is probably not good calls, but some of it would be good calls. And the fact of the matter is you put yourself in that box, and it's hard to get out of. And then, as you know, Jacob, having played the game, there's such a thing as reputation. And officials, they know this. They pay attention. They notice who is more apt to do something as compared to the other. Used to be in the old days, the Al Davis Raiders, as you recall, as a Charger, they always were a team that you looked at to commit infractions. They were always at the top of the league in penalties. It's the way they played. So does reputation come into play? I think it does to a degree. So it's performance more than it is bad calls, and obviously the performance element has to get better.
So, Ken, what's fixable and what's not? Would a pass rush, you get one or two of these guys back, or one or two of these guys playing better, going to drastically change things in the secondary? Is there some kind of techniques or philosophy that they need to change? How much of this is fixable and how much is fatal?
It's a good question, because the thought process going in was you had the best pair of cover corners that you've ever had in the Peyton regime and probably in the history of the franchise, with Janoris Jenkins being on the other side of Lattimore. And if you felt confident enough in those guys and in your nickel and dime coverage guys, whether it's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or whether it's P.J. Williams or Patrick Robinson or whoever, then you can afford to get after the passer. Well, it hasn't worked out that way. They've had issues in coverage, and it's been across the board. Lattimore's had his issues. Obviously, Janoris Jenkins has had his issues. P.J. Williams, they had him playing quarters on a deep ball the other night, and that's asking a lot of a guy that's supposed to be a slot type of guy. So, again, scheme might be part of it too, right? And then from the safety's perspective, Malcolm Jenkins, he got praised for playing a good game the other night. Of course, he did get beat for a touchdown, but he played better overall. But that's because he's pretty good in zone blitz, and he's good in the box. Is he good in coverage at this stage of his career? We'll see, right? And then, of course, with regard to Marcus Williams, you say what's fixable. Well, I can tell you one thing that's not fixable. He's not a tackler. He never has been. And he's missed tackles, again, in the open field. And that's not something that's fixable. That's who he is. He's a playmaker. He can find the football and maybe make a couple of plays, which interceptions certainly have been part of his 3-year career with the Saints, but so have missed tackles and mistakes. So I don't know how much of it is fixable. I think you can play a little better than you have. I think if you get a little bit healthier up front, you certainly can get better. I'd like to find out what Zach Bond can do. That's why you drafted him, rather than seeing Luther Ellis' son, Caden Ellis, or whatever the case may be. Anzalone's been a mixed bag at best. We know Demario Davis is good. Where's Marcus Davenport? Sheldon Rankins has battled injuries in his career. He's not been as effective. David Onyemata has been hurt. So, again, get your dudes on the field, and then maybe we find out. But at least at this point in time, it's a concern.
Ken, there's a lot that we were looking forward to when it came to this rookie class. We talked about Cesar Ruiz. You mentioned Zach Bond, Adam Troutman, Tommy Stevens on the practice squad. Do you expect us to see anything from this rookie class in the next couple of weeks?
Well, Ruiz is playing now, so he's starting. So definitely we'll see him, and we'll find out what he's all about in due time. He's a rookie. It's tough. But then again, you drafted him to play as a first-round pick. First-round picks are drafted to play unless you're a quarterback walking into a situation where you're not going to win, and you have a veteran like Miami, for instance, with Tua and Fitzpatrick. So you're drafted to play. So I think we'll find out a lot about Cesar Ruiz. Troutman's playing. He had a couple of catches, and now with Jared Cook being hurt, my guess is his status gets elevated, and we'll find out more about him. As for Bond, I don't know. Remember, he got hurt in camp, and that set him back. But I think we all felt that the Saints had made 3 good picks with those guys, not the Stevens pick, but the other 3. I think we all felt good about what they were able to do and where they were able to get them. So it's interesting, but there's also the comparison game, and it's way too early. But some people have mentioned, and I have too, that you waited to get Bond, and you passed on Patrick Queen, who's starting for the Ravens and playing pretty well. So, and then Justin Jefferson 2 spots ahead of that. They love to trade up. Well, if they liked him that much, could have been there, and then you wouldn't have had to go out and get a Sanders and worry about him, or you could have at least mitigated the whole situation and made him a 3rd guy at this stage of his career. But the offense is a different story.
Speaking of the offense, I hear Drew Brees saying that they are calling some deep shots, and I see plays where he goes back, and we've seen Brees do this enough times that we know when he's about to let it fly. He's kind of stepping up a little bit in the pocket. He's got his chin high. He's looking down the field, and he's ready to let it go, and he just doesn't. It's been 3 games now that they just simply won't make that throw. I got a hard time believing that players have been covered every time for 3 games, Ken, so what gives?
So Peyton said that there were 2 chances that he didn't take in the Raiders game. He said there were no chances in the last game. Now, you're relying on the coach's word, so it's not as though they haven't covered. Green Bay played the cover 2 shell throughout, so maybe there's accuracy to that. I watched some of the playback, as you'd probably do, just to get a better look at analytics, because when you're in the building, like we are for home games, you don't see it nearly as well, especially from our vantage point about 5,000 miles above the sea, right? So it's a better look when you have a chance to watch. The answer is probably somewhere in between. There probably have been a few, but there probably haven't been that many. Peyton said he had his best week of practice last week, that he was able to throw the ball deep and effectively. So you ask yourself several questions. One, is he confident enough in his interior protection, with Nick Easton having to play, with Andrus Peat before he got hurt playing as a mixed bag like he normally does, and with Eric McCoy, a 2nd-year player, and now Cesar Ruiz, a 1st-year player? Good question. I think he's not that confident, frankly. Second part of that would be, does he have a receiver that can actually stretch the field? Not named Deontay Harris, who's a specialist by and large. And then, of course, the third part's the obvious. Can he get the ball down there? Until we see him make a throw like that, do any of us really know? But the whole narrative that Brees is the problem and that Brees has played poorly just doesn't fit with me at all. He has not been the same guy. He's not going to be at this stage of his career. But he's by far your best option, and he's also, by comparison, done a pretty solid job overall. And as Chris Collinsworth said on the network telecast, which I went back and watched part of after the game the other night, why wouldn't you check it down to Kamara? You want to get the ball to your playmakers, of course. Your playmakers are Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, and you don't have one of them right now, or you haven't in the last few games. And then other than that, there's Taysom Hill, and that's another story. Look, he's a playmaker and he's a great asset, but I thought that was it. That's what cost them the game the other night. The Saints had scored on 4 straight possessions. They just got a 4th down stop, got the ball on the plus side. They're 2nd and 3, so let's change it up. Why? Again, you've scored 4 straight times. You've got it going. You've got a rhythm. So I love Taysom, but he's no good on those replays, by the way. He's really good in pretty much every other avenue, but he seldom makes the right read on the replay. And, oh, by the way, the defenses are looking for him to keep the ball. Thus, you saw the play that was made, and it's almost always that way.
See if the Saints can get Michael Thomas back on the field and get a win as they play the Detroit Lions on Sunday. Ken Trahan, CrescentCitySports.com. Thanks for a few minutes. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you soon.
Look forward to it. Thanks, gentlemen.
We'll take a break. Still no score in Atlanta and Cincinnati. We are brought to you by Richard Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Gotro's Outdoor Power, 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge, Airline at Industrialplex. And our friends over at Skag have given you easy ways to pick up one of their zero-turn mowers, the best on the market, and make it your own. First of all, 60 months, interest-free financing, free delivery, best parts inventory anywhere in the state is going to make it easy for you. And our Simply the Brave program means you're going to get 15% discount off MSRP for all of our first responders, all of our police, all of our fire, all of our medical people to get you on a brand new Skag.
They've also got a Skag, residential or commercial, whatever your needs might be, right? If you're mowing that business, well, they've got something for you. If it's just for your home, they've got something for you. If it's the in-between, they've got something for you. As you can tell, no matter what your needs are, they're going to have a Skag, a piece of equipment that's going to meet those needs and exceed those needs as well. GoTrosOutdoorPower.com is the website. Remember, free delivery throughout the state of Louisiana. Another reason, GoTros, we make it easy.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Cordell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a Tundra for $7,000 off MSRP. That's right, $7,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Cordell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark, Mike Detillier, Fantasy Blitz, a Vandy preview. Thursday, AFR, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Failure happens to us all, but it's how champions evolve. The only thing that matters for me.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Bill Bender in about 25 minutes from the Sporting News Talk College Football with him. Hunt Palmer will be in here in about 10 minutes.
We think.
Okay, get some sad music ready to play.
Oh, yeah,
because
please
he's
do.
probably not going to be in a good mood. And the Cubs start here in about 10 minutes, so I'm not sure his mood's going to improve any. We know that Sean Payton's not going to talk about his own injury situations. That's just not something he does. We do think that Michael Thomas is going to be back for the Saints this week. That's according to Adam Schefter, according to Nick Underhill. Are they going to score a run? Are you kidding me? A run? The Atlanta Braves scored a run. Breaking news.
Hey, I was going to allow you to keep going. I was just waving my arm. Thank you.
This is 2 in 20 innings now.
You know how many the Reds have in 20 innings?
0.
Not a darn one, Hanny. That's exactly right, Cade.
Come the Yankees and Indians couldn't play in the middle of the day. That'd be entertaining to watch.
Okay, you hate pitching, I guess. Guess you don't like Greg Maddux. Guess Sandy Koufax isn't your type of
just
person,
giving you
huh?
a hard time. Actually, where was I? Michael Thomas,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So moving well in practice, according to Nick Underhill, New Orleans football. So we hope that Thomas is back, obviously. On the other side, Kenny Golladay returned for Detroit last week. He's their number one receiver. Now, he didn't have a massive stat line last week against Arizona, 6 catches for 57 yards, but the touchdown catch over Budda Baker that gave them that lead right at halftime was arguably the biggest play of the game. So he is a playmaker, and of course, given the Saints' penchant for giving up big plays this year already, it's a concern of Sean Payton's.
Thing that comes to mind is his downfield scoring threat. You know, he's a big play target. He had great production a year ago. Matt's got a ton of confidence in him, and if you just look at his numbers from a year ago, I think it's pretty evident.
Golladay probably a top, let's say, 15 receiver in the league.
He's in the conversation.
Yeah. He's somewhere between 10 and 20 in my mind. I wouldn't put him as a
back-to-back
top
1,000-yard years.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a top 10 receiver, but he's not much further past that. Somewhere between 10 and 20. Lions, you remember, lost in Week 1 to the Bears on a drop pass by DeAndre Swift. This was not one of those other things happening. No, they would have won the game if he catches the ball. Week 2, they go into Green Bay, take a 14-point lead before the roof fell in on them, and then they go out and they beat what's been a promising-looking Arizona Cardinal team. So Sean Payton, and I think he's right here, thinks that they're a little bit better than 1-2 would indicate.
Yeah, I think to some degree. I mean, look, they're ahead in the Green Bay game, and then Green Bay obviously is a good team. They come back and get the win. They're ahead, way ahead in the Chicago game, and give up some big plays, and then they win a big game on the road. So, look, we're focused entirely on their defense, offense, and the kicking game, but we're just as importantly focused on ourselves and correcting the stuff that we need cleaned up.
They could blow a lead better than anybody but the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe those two teams should play. The Saints are a road favorite here. There's still some faith in New Orleans, despite what has happened in the last couple of weeks. Should they be?
At the way they're playing, I mean,
what else do I have to go on?
You know, I'm saying, like, with the way that both these teams are playing, I don't think either one of these teams, can show up and assume one of the things is going to happen.
I think this game is a straight pick.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think either one of them can go in here and assume, we're just playing the Lions, or the Saints have been struggling. Right now, these teams look a little bit like each other.
The Saints are Playboy Marty. What you got on the updates? 4.5. Saints 4.5 point favorite. Yeah. I told you last week the wrong team was favored in the Superdome because home field, throw it out this year. Yeah. I understand how point spreads work, where the home field counts for anywhere from 3 to 5 points, depending on where you're playing, college or pro. But there ain't no home field advantage, so it's 4. Okay, 4. Without the home field being a factor, I'm just going on how these teams are playing. And if you ask me what I think with these two teams, I think it's a dead heat. I'd have this game a straight pick 'em. Last week I told you the Saints and the Packers, wrong team was favored. The Packers were a better team. Now, if the Superdome would have been full, different kettle of fish. I think this is a 50-50, a straight toss-up game. If you asked me that a month ago, I'd have said no. The Saints are easy favorites.
A month ago, if you would have said when you get to Detroit,
after Tampa, but didn't work out that way. Bill Bender and Hunt Palmer with us in hour number 2, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen. T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're listening along with us in Shreveport, 1130 The Tiger. You're watching on CST, or you're watching along with us on YouTube, the Hanging with Hester and Hanny page, or the 104.5 ESPN page. Welcome in this afternoon. Hunt Palmer joins us. He's in a great mood because the Cubs game's been canceled. We have your undivided attention.
That doesn't
for
put me in a great mood, but it's better than losing.
Well, explain yourself.
Well, that's who the Cubs are. Their offense has been terrible for most of the year. The pitching staff's been great. Hendricks pitched into the seventh without giving up a run, and you scored one. You hit one home run, and that's it. Javi Baez is statistically about the worst hitter in the National League. Wasn't quite counting on that. Rizzo's hitting 220. Bryant's hitting 200. They just don't hit.
You know, if the Cubs had played the Reds yesterday, they might still be playing game one.
No, we hit a home run, so we'd have won.
You played against the Marlins.
Right.
If you got to choose your opponent, I think they'd choose the Marlins over the Reds.
If you got 8 innings of Trevor Bauer, you wouldn't have hit a home run.
No, probably not.
Does he chirp after every
strikeout, every pitch?
Okay,
I've got to be careful because I think the Cubs are going to go after him this offseason, so I got to be careful.
I mean, I'm not even saying
a
one way or the
Trevor Bauer
other.
guy.
Ronald Acuna hit a double and then kind of raised his arms, like clapped his hands, and he chirped after he struck out the next guy. Like, was talking to him.
Yeah, that's Trevor Bauer.
You said he's been like that since he was at UCLA.
Oh, yeah. No, really, that UCLA team was a little chippy, as I remember.
I don't know any of the offensive guys. I know Cole and Bauer were the top two. I just don't know anybody else that was on the team.
Maybe it was just because LSU lost and had a little bit of the team was 1 week away. One week away from being really, really one more week for Anthony Renato, and they were going to be really, really different. I digress. Hunt, how are you besides the Cubs?
Well, my football team's 0-1. My baseball team's on the verge of elimination. I mean, if you want to talk about the weather, that's pretty good.
The Irish had a bounce back week. The 7-year-old Irish had a bounce back week.
I saw some touchdowns on my Facebook feed.
That's positive. Oh, I thought we were just spouting positives here.
Well, we were.
Because last week, the Irish lost. My other son's team lost. The Chargers, the Broncos, the Saints, LSU all lost. But Everton won.
Are you drinking out of an Everton League Champions from 1986 coffee mug?
Yes, League Champions 1986-87, the last time they won the Premier League. And it's a little faded because it's from when I was 2 years old.
Wait a minute. You root for a team that hasn't won a championship since the mid-1980s?
Yeah, you don't root for teams just because they win championships. That's called front runners. That's called Yankees and Lakers fans.
You were a year old when they won that.
It went into the 87 season.
Okay, you were 2 years old. I'm assuming you weren't watching.
I wasn't, but
they probably didn't have EuroLeague games on in Shreveport in 1987. How'd you get hooked up with that outfit?
So whenever we went and played the Saints over in London, I picked it up from a thrift shop.
Okay.
Were a lot of NFL guys shopping in the thrift store?
Cheap ones like me, probably.
So you bought a coffee.
Vintage.
You bought a ceramic coffee mug in London,
it.
wrapped it up in your suitcase to make sure that it didn't get broken on the way back
actually,
home.
Put it on my carry-on backpack. Didn't want it to get broken.
Really wanted to make sure it didn't get broken. And so you carry around 8 years later a Everton championship 1986-87.
12 years later. I got it in 08.
See, life's about priorities. Hester goes to Europe on the job and goes to the thrift store and buys an Everton coffee mug. You two go to Dublin on the job. And how fast did you get to a sports book?
They're on every corner. I mean, if you drive through Baton Rouge, okay, what are you likely to see more of than anything? Some of it closed, but you're more likely to see a drugstore. Okay, it's a CVS, the old Rite Aids, it's a Walmart, a Winn-Dixie, or Walgreens. You're going to see one of them. At one point,
I loved it.
At one point in the, I think it was 2010 or something like that. The 2 blocks you got past on Lee Drive, if you're driving up towards college, you had 3 drugstores on the 4 corners of 2 consecutive intersections. Okay, that happened at one. Anyway, that's what Dublin is like for sports books. You just walk around, you can bet on anything, and if you walk, it's like walking past a bakery or a pub. There's a sports book. So what was I supposed to do? I was with Jimmy.
Have you heard Van Pelt's Open Championship sportsbook story?
No, I haven't.
So he's there covering for ESPN. They finish on Saturday. He goes into the pub across the street and sees one of the guys in the field literally fall out of the pub. So Van Pelt goes to the sportsbook across the street and bets every way you can bet against him. He shot the low round on Sunday.
Of course he did.
He will never say who it was on the air.
Right.
Apparently he says when there's a guest on, I'll tell you off the air, but he never says on the air. But he bet him every way you could bet against him, and the guy shot the low round on Sunday.
So you said on Tuesday that you'd have a better deep dive into football on Thursday. So give me your deep dive.
Well, first of all, and most importantly, it's not about Vanderbilt because they're terrible. And if LSU can't go out there, assert dominance, and take control of the football game start to finish, then there may be a bigger problem than even we know after one game. That was
A&M scored 17 points at home.
I watched it.
Okay.
I watched the highlights. I watched the second half of that. That's fine. They're not any good, and they certainly can't score. They threw a freshman out there. He averaged about 5 yards per attempt, about 7 yards per completion. He turned it over a couple of times. They don't really do much of anything on offense. They've got a converted defensive lineman playing on the offensive guard. They just kind of run the ball and be real careful. And Mason thinks his defense is good, and they're going to try to win it on defense. They got 3 turnovers from A&M, and that's why they stayed in the ball game. But A&M was able to run the ball in that game. They averaged, even if you take out the 51-yarder, they averaged somewhere around 7 yards a carry. They averaged like 8.5 for the game. They were able to run it. And to me, LSU needs to run the ball in this game. I thought they needed to run it more in the first half on Saturday, and I certainly think they need to run it more in this game. They didn't have a ton of success, but they just need to make things a little easier on Miles, get him comfortable, and maybe get him some easier throws than getting back there and just trying to chuck it as much as they did in the first half.
I think Ed Ogeron and Steve Ensminger believe this as well. The number is pretty well documented. We've given it a couple times this week. First half, 14 first downs for LSU. They throw it 10 times. They run it 4, 71%. Second half, they have 24 first down plays. They throw it 14. They run it 10, 58%. So you already started to see them, Jacob, go in that direction, and I would be very surprised if they didn't continue that this week.
Can we all agree that the first drive of the second half is who they kind of need to be, I think, offensively to create the identity that I think bodes well for them? You ran the football. You threw short, intermediate, very easy completion passes for Miles Brennan, and you took one shot over the top. Now, once you got to the goal line, obviously you want to see something a little bit different. I'm not a big fan. I think, Hunt, you and I have talked about this in length of hurry up, we're on the 1 yard line, let's just run zone read, especially with a quarterback that you know is not going to pull it. But up until that point, I think that's when they're going to be at their best, when they're having a drive like that, when the numbers look like that, when it's run, pass, pass. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not just, man, here comes 7 passes in 1 run, or here comes 7 runs in a pass. No, they were switching it up. They were changing it up and doing it a number of different ways. And also, while doing that, giving Miles throws that he can gain that confidence to throw the deep ball.
Tell me this ain't 2020 where we're actually having a discussion where LSU may have actually thrown the ball too much.
Yes, that's where I am. I just the key to this deal, well, that's the wrong word. What we'll learn this week is either, okay, they weren't ready to go in game 1, and they got beat by a team that they weren't quite ready for and that played great and out-executed them, and they just got beat. But they took it to Vanderbilt and dominated them, and let's see where things can go with Missouri, and then you get into the meat of the schedule. But if they go out there and really struggle against Vanderbilt, you can run every flashing light and alarm you want. That's a nightmare because Vanderbilt's awful. There's no other way to put it.
Ed Ogeron last night on Miles Brennan.
You got to look at it. Miles threw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty good night. Now, obviously, we're used to seeing 600 yards, but this is a new quarterback. It's a new offense. We scored 27 points on offense. I thought overall Miles did pretty good. Now, he made some poor decisions. He could have got rid of the ball quicker. He should have stepped in the pocket a couple of times. But I think those things are going to come. That's his first game. But Miles is our quarterback for now. I believe in Miles, and I think he's going to make a much improvement this week.
Mr. Palmer, do you concur?
Okay, here's the deal. If you would have told me, okay, just wipe the schedule out and just say you're playing Mississippi State first and we see what we saw on Saturday. And then you could walk over to Greg Sankey's desk and say, okay, you get one road game and one home game the next 2 weeks. Just pick who you want. This is what you would have picked. Maybe you throw Arkansas in there. You'd have picked a road game against Vanderbilt and a home game against Missouri, and potentially you'd have thrown Arkansas. This is as good a rebound, get your feet back on the ground, and get some momentum going for the rest of the season, 2 weeks, as you can possibly ask for. And it's got to start on Saturday.
We said that when the bonus schedule came out, the 2 extra games. This is who you would have. This is who you have asked to take if you had been given this. You had been given this order that you had to have 2 more games. This is exactly who you would have taken. There was a little bit more from O on how they would hope to settle Brennan down a little bit.
It starts with protection. I mean, he can't be running for his life every down. And then again, short, easy throws, and we have to have a better running game. I don't think we ran the ball enough, especially on first down.
He went on to say that Dare Rosenthal is almost certainly not going to play in this game. So when we talk about protections, Jake, let's talk about putting in a left tackle who has played sparingly in his LSU career for his first career start on the road.
My hope is they don't start adding people to the mix-up to try to say, hey, let's chip, let's keep guys in. I hope you don't see Torrey Carter lining up in Cam Wire's hip and going back to 7-man protections where you basically have 7 offensive linemen out there like we saw in 2018 with Foster Moreau and Nick Brissett at times. There were so many times Nick Brissett didn't even have a route. He was just sitting there patrolling the area, right? And that was what they told him to do. Because for me, getting the ball out of your hands in 5 wide, empty sets, 11 personnel with the back in there, free release to the back, that slows down a rush. And LSU last year was in the 70%, I think it was 73% if I'm not mistaken, empty package, empty personnel, right? Where there's a 5-man protection. We're getting the ball out of our hands. Well, go back and watch this game. And actually, Jordan Rogers actually did a really nice job of breaking this down. Miles struggled when they were in empty. He did not do the things that his keys were telling him to do. So don't go away from it. Don't start adding people into it, because when you take people out of the routes and you're trying to get your quarterback comfortable, that's the last thing you want to do. We've seen that, and it does not work. It's on Miles to get the ball out of his hands right now because you're missing some of your offensive linemen. And it's on, Ensminger and everybody to get those easy throws that we're talking about in those empty formations, in those 4 receiver sets.
I agree with you, but it takes a certain mentality to play that way. Miles cannot wait for his guy to come open.
You're right.
In that, if you're going to
trust your eyes,
you can't be scared to throw the ball into a window if you're going to play like that. If you're going to play empty with one back and have him release, and they're going to bring pressure, you've got to throw it. You can't sit there and hold it and wait, and it's got to go out. It's got to come out. And he as Charlie, you've used the word 100 times, he was tentative and he was indecisive on Saturday.
How many plays did Torrey Carter play on Saturday? 20%? 15%?
No, I don't think that much.
Okay.
I don't think it was that many. I'd say 12 to 15.
Okay, because when he's in there, chipping is not the worst thing in the world. I understand you don't want to go back to max protect and put 2 players in the route, but if you're going to put Carter in the game, if your tackle does need help and you're going to put him in the game, they're not going to throw him the ball. So let him put a hat on somebody.
And nobody wants fullbacks more than me. But if you just said it yourself, they're not going to throw him the ball.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're taking away an option for Miles Brennan.
All I'm saying is if Wire gets eaten up over there, giving him some help may be their only choice. Now, maybe Wire will be good. We've never seen him play, really. But if somebody's turnstiling him over there, you're going to have to help. Doesn't mean you got to put 7 guys in. Okay?
But if you start to play off of that, and I understand what you're saying, you don't want to get your quarterback killed, but you have to scheme off of that as well.
This is one of those things that you got to look at the first 10, 12 plays of the game and go, okay, how's Wire doing? because we don't know yet. If he's doing fine, wonderful. Stay with what you got. If not, please, giving him some help. Just him. I'm not saying stack the court with tight ends, but one guy, give him a little bit of help in his first start. Bill Bender from the Sporting News is with us. When we come back, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The EnviroPath plan is a proactive and bold campaign to get businesses and schools open safely. Darren, why is it so effective?
The EnviroPath plan is a combination of sanitizing technology with OSHA and CDC compliant employee training to produce a workplace that is safe and ready for people to come and visit and spend their money at.
So what makes this different than a company coming in and spraying chemicals all over the place?
Yeah, great question. We knew right away that this was an airborne problem, mainly. It also is a surface problem, but mainly it's airborne. And so coming in and spraying your office or your home down with chemicals is the wrong approach. You're missing the problem. The problem is in the air. And that's exactly what Active Pure addresses.
The EnviroPath plan is available to you. Call 225-610-0702 or go to enviropath.world.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank.
Join us for a Thursday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar for our Thursday night football watch party. Come watch the Broncos take on the Jets or tune in at 6 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Bill Bender from the Sporting News joins us right now. Bill, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks.
What was the most impressive thing you saw over this past weekend? And don't be at all influenced by the fact that there was a record set in the Southeastern Conference for passing yards.
If it's not that, I'd say it's either Mississippi State, it's either, Auburn looked pretty good in a game that was supposed to be close against Kentucky, has some good momentum going into this week against Georgia, and then continually, if there's a September national champ, it's probably Miami. 3-0, looks progressively good each week and looks organized, and they'll take their best swing at Clemson next week.
Bill, I feel like the old lady in the Titanic movie that throws the diamond off in the end of the ocean at the very end. That's how I feel hearing Kellen Mond is growing, and Kellen Mond's going to be this. I feel that old because that's how long we've been hearing that Kellen Mond was going to take that step. 3 turnovers against Vanderbilt, the team that LSU's playing this week. Alabama could expose them, and if they do, and they lose yet again another big game, what's the heat like for Jimbo Fisher? I know the contract, but what's the feeling there?
It's another top 10 showcase for them, like you said, and I think we kind of crunched the numbers a little bit this week. The big difference in that rivalry, if you want to call it that, is ever since Johnny Manziel left, Alabama's had great decision makers at quarterback, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in the last 6 wins, and A&M's had guys that have thrown 6 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Kellen Mond in that mix, where he played okay against Alabama last year, but you said it, in the SEC, you've got to have that next year that wins those top 10 showdowns, and at some point, Jimbo's going to feel that.
Bill Bender joining us here from the Sporting News. I'll let you talk about what we watched in person on Saturday in Tiger Stadium. What'd you see from afar?
Well, obviously 60 passes in 60 minutes, and we'd all wondered what it would look like. Now, not making excuses, but a lot of stars aligned for that to happen in a lot of ways. Obviously Stingley missed the game. LSU's breaking in a bunch of different guys. Miles Brennan making his first start. And Mississippi State was able to turn up the heat. I think the way Costello spread that ball around to the receivers and then Kylan Hill got involved with over 100 yards receiving made it tough. And, there'll be better days for LSU. But I know you guys aren't in the mood for like a honeymoon season. You want to compete every year. That's their right.
Bill Bender joining us right now. Bill, how big of an upset in your mind, how big of a deal is it that Oklahoma blows a 3-touchdown lead in the second half at home and loses to Kansas State, and they do it a lot on the strength of 3 interceptions of Spencer Rattler?
The same old questions come up. How do you blow a 3-touchdown lead at home against the K-State team that was very average in their first game? Spencer Rattler's young. I think that's the difference with Oklahoma this year, maybe as the past couple years with Lincoln Riley, that Rattler's not at that Heisman level yet. And he may get there. He's only redshirt freshman. But the defense, that's always the question with the Big 12. It's probably the same question we can ask about Texas, who escaped last week, but certainly didn't look great in that wild victory against Texas Tech.
Hey, Bill, I want to go back to something you mentioned, Miami, if we were giving out a national championship trophy just for September. And the three of us have had a long debate about Miami and, could it ever get back to what it once was? And I want to ask you that question. How do you feel about Miami's program right now? Is it because they got Derek King, they got Rhett Lashley calling plays, or do you think this is something they can actually grow on? And with Florida State continuing to be down, Florida obviously still up, but Miami can take advantage of what they're doing and get back to someone who is actually competing for championships? Or is this all window dressing, and by the time they get to Clemson and other teams in the ACC, it's going to be more of the same?
Well, I think it comes down to the organization. The offense, like you said, looks better. Derek King's a good decision maker in that offense. I think it was helped a little bit by the fact that Florida State's in a completely different place as a program and not looking great doing it. So, Miami, they'll get their swing next week. We always want to do that, the U is back thing, but the last 2 times they played Clemson, the combined score was 96-3. That tells you where the gap is, and we'll see what it is. So what to you guys would look like? Let's say Clemson wins 31-20. What does that say about Miami? I would say that they're definitely making progress.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree if they go out there and it's respectable, and some point in the second half, Bill, it's a contest that's still, somewhat in doubt for Clemson, then I think that tells you where Miami is.
I totally agree. And, Clemson is now – for those of us who grew up with that rivalry, Florida State and Miami, I've been telling people if Miami wants to show something, then picture Clemson as Florida State, because that's who they are now. They're that every year top 5, good talent, NFL guys all over the place, good QBs, and essentially Dabo's a better big game coach than Bobby Bowden was, and that's high praise, but it really has bared out over the last few years.
Pull things back in the SEC, Bill. The first week in terms of name brand matchups wasn't all that sexy, but now you look at this week and you talked about A&M and Alabama, and then obviously Auburn and Georgia. Let's go to that one. Took a little while for Georgia to get out of neutral up in Fayetteville last weekend, but they get JT Daniels back for maybe some or all of the game on Saturday. How do you think that one goes?
A mystery of quarterback to figure out, and that's just a consequence of losing a guy like Jake Fromm that has played in that game and played well and not made mistakes. The thing that sticks out in those last 3 Auburn-Georgia games is both teams have only turned the ball over twice. So that puts a lot of pressure on whoever's playing quarterback for Georgia, whether it's Daniels or Mathis or Bennett, and they'll be going up against Bo Nix, who I can't say I was like over the top impressed by Auburn, but I would say we're used to drama with Auburn, and they didn't provide that last week. They played well. And for Bo Nix, he threw 50 times in that game last year. He'll have to be a little more efficient with the football as well.
Bill Bender is our guest from the Sporting News. Bill, earlier today, Joey Gatewood got his eligibility granted at Kentucky. The quarterback, Cade Mays, the lineman, formerly at Georgia, got his eligibility at Tennessee. With the waivers that we've had, this is kind of the last one that needed to be put up, which was to allow the interleague transfer without sitting out the year. Do you think we're closer right now, as close as we've ever been, that it's imminent that next year we're going to have a one-time waiver automatically granted for anybody who wants to transfer?
I would anticipate that's in the next cycle, yeah, and I'm cool with that. We've seen it happen enough. Waivers typically go to the quarterbacks first, but I think it's time to give everybody that one free pass. Look at what it gave LSU. Jabril Cox out of the FCS, he's a pretty good player. And I think guys should be able to level up or level across, however you want to put it, and not sit out. But the second one, I would say, you can go ahead and make that a sit-out 1 year, and make it a little bit tougher. That way we're not dealing with a guy, like you'll hear, we're going to have a guy play for Ohio State and then A&M and then UCLA. And I don't know that we need that.
I agree with you there, Bill. Hey, before we let you go, are you Reds or Indians?
Sat up with my wife last night. She's a big Indians fan. That was brutal. And most of my buddies are Red fans. I'm actually a rando Padres fan.
Okay.
Tony Gwynn's my favorite athlete of all time. That was brutal all the way around yesterday. My Ohio buddies are hurting. It was torturous, and it's not getting much better today, guys.
Well, I'm a Braves fan, so far it's pretty good for me. So I was making sure you weren't a Reds guy.
No, I got buddies that are. We watched the whole game yesterday. It's a long way to go for a 1-0 game. Sounds like we're getting another one. I'm outside right now, but is it still 1-0 now?
Still 1-0 Bravos, yep.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you guys enjoy the next round, I suppose.
Well, Bill, I'm a Cubs guy, so if your Padres want to step up and help me out here, I'd really appreciate it.
I know, but it has been fun. It has been a fun couple days of baseball and a nice distraction as we get ready for another weekend. I have enjoyed the baseball itself.
Bill, we appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, no problem. Thanks so much.
Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
We got a little bit of cool weather, man. It's really nice. Makes you want to get outside and maybe work a little bit on your property. If you want to pick up a shovel, pick up a phone first, please, and call 811. Whether you're planting some landscaping or a tree, whether you're building a fence or a pool or another building on your property, 811 is the easiest thing you'll ever do to keep yourself out of trouble. Give the operator your address. Somebody will come out within 2 days to mark all the buried line locations on your property. They'll color code them so you know what's buried where. That way you or your contractor can avoid them. It's very simple to do. You won't cause any problems for yourself or for your neighbors.
Louisiana Underground Utilities and Facilities Damage Prevention Law. As we say every single day, yes, that is exactly what it is. It is the law. You have to do this. You cannot put a shovel on the ground unless you do this, because there is so many lines that are so shallow here in Louisiana. You can go to Louisiana811.com for more information, or you can just pick up the phone. Extremely easy. Dial 811 before you dig.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Coming up on Tuesdays Off the Bench, it's game week, and Coach O stops by to break it down. Plus, Derek Stingley Sr. in his regular Tuesday slot. My man Nick Underhill breaks down the Saints, and a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hunt Palmer with us. Get your thoughts on some of the big games this weekend. So Auburn is at Georgia. This is usually games played late in the season. They were moving it up in the rotation anyway, but now it's really early. A week 2 matchup between those two. Seems really strange, but they both won in week number 1. Who you like?
Well, we just don't know anything about Georgia. They were so awful. So the thing is that they were trying to kind of become this year's LSU. I use air quotes there. We're not going to set every record ever been posted, but they were going to try to open things up on the offensive side, and they knew that they had a really good defense already. And then they didn't have any quarterbacks, and they went out there and couldn't do anything against Arkansas in the first half. Got the passing game going a little bit when Stetson Bennett came in and ran away from a bad team. Auburn's not a bad team. So what do we think that Georgia's offense is going to give them? I kind of fall on the side that Bo Nix does some things that look okay, but is not a consistent playmaker and a great player in the league at this point. I tend to lean towards Auburn right now, but if I see something from JT Daniels or that Georgia offense gets rolling, it could probably change the way that I look at them for the 10-game push.
Jacob, last week the Auburn Tigers' leading rusher was Bo Nix against Kentucky, and if we look at, I know it's Arkansas, but Georgia is, whatever you think of their quarterback situation, defensively, they're pretty salty, right? I mean,
Right.
they averaged less than 3 yards a carry given up against Arkansas, and they were good a year ago. So, taking a closer look at Auburn and Kentucky, how did Auburn win the game? Kentucky had 2 red zone turnovers, and one of them almost cost them a pick six. They got bailed out on the turnover. They had a punter try to grow a brain and run a fake punt deep in his own territory that set him up for another cheap score. And I know you can't take them out, but those are the 3 plays of the game. And they were all really Kentucky mistakes more than they were Auburn making a play.
Auburn was kind of clunky.
They were. And I'm not just saying that because I want to spare your feelings where Kentucky's concerned, but I mean, Kentucky made 3 big mistakes in the game, and that ended up being the difference. So I'm thinking if Georgia shuts down the Auburn run game, and if Kentucky could shut down the Auburn run game, then we know that Georgia can. Then this game ends up on Bo Nix, and that would make me nervous if I'm Auburn.
So what Auburn did well last week was they adapted to sudden change. Whenever they had the opportunity, when they got the ball, when it was a bad fake punt, when they got the turnover on the goal, when they got all those things, well, they did really well with sudden change. And that's not always going to be there, though, right? You've got to start to create things on your own. They didn't run the football like we know them to run it. But a lot of that probably has to do with Chad Morris is now the OC. He's not going to stick to the run like Gus Malzahn would. Boobie Whitlow is now at Western Illinois. He's no longer at Auburn. I thought he was a very talented running back. DJ Williams is a nice piece. I don't think he's a player that Boobie Whitlow was, but Auburn's really good in the red area on defense too. So if you're Georgia, you can't just assume that you can run the football in the red area or you can just throw it up to George Pickens. They've got to come out and they've got to prove that they can put the ball in the end zone as well. This game so early in the season is going to tell us so much about both of these football teams. Because I am not buying in on Georgia right now. I think Georgia has a great defense. I think they've got guys that are capable of running the ball. They had that last year. They had that the year before. We could probably go back a lot of years where they've had that, right? Last year they had Jake Fromm, an SEC quarterback that you'll find. They had DeAndre Swift. They had that great defense. What it do? Well, it won them some games, but it doesn't lift trophies at the end of the day. So they've got to show me that they're more than that. And so this one right now is going to tell us that about Georgia. It's going to tell us how much the growth of Bo Nix. It does feel like he's been a quarterback a long time, Hunt, in this conference. It's only obviously been a year and 1 game, but you still want to see more. He's got to complete passes at a higher percentage for Auburn to continue to grow.
You use the word clunky. I think that's perfect. It just kind of looks like a good high school offense when he's out there. And there's not a lot that's on time, but there's a lot of athletes, and they kind of make something happen. We can run the ball a little bit effectively, and every once in a while we make a big play because we've got athletes, but it's not crisp. It's not on time. It's clunky. It's what you said. And, that's tough on Georgia, but I also think Auburn's defense is very good, and we'll see. I just don't know enough about Georgia on offense because we had, what would have been their 4th team quarterback playing against a bad Arkansas team, and you might change all those variables on Saturday if you put a talented guy in there who hasn't played much and is playing against a good defense. I don't know.
South Carolina and Florida. Everybody loves Florida right now. Trask throws 6 touchdown passes. Okay.
Everybody thinks they're a good team. I don't know if I'd use that word love.
Well,
I think they're a good football team.
You prefer sexy?
No, not talking about the game. Come on, who are you talking to, Hanny? You know better.
They are an impressive offensive group, and they put up a ton of points. And Trask was great.
Yeah.
But they also allowed 35 points to Ole Miss. And they go in, they go home to play a South Carolina team that had a disappointing loss to Tennessee, which was a very, very competitive game. And all of a sudden, Florida's an 18-point favorite. What you think?
I thought the points was pretty high. I thought there was a lot of things that South Carolina did well in their loss against Tennessee. They had one pass kind of ricochet, get tipped up, and it turns into a pick six. That was a big moment in that game. I think South Carolina is that team that, they're not going to win the game that they need to win, but they're not going to get blown out many times either. They're very talented in certain spots. I think they're really good at receiver. They got to get those guys the ball more. Only 2 receivers caught the ball in Saturday's game against Tennessee. They got to get them involved a little bit more. For Florida, we need to see, was it Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral? And because they have a dynamic offense at Ole Miss. I mean, I don't think anybody up here can say they don't have weapons. They definitely have those. Was that why they gave up that many yards and that many points, or is it a real concern because Florida did lose a lot on defense? And so will we learn a lot about Florida's defense this game? No, probably not. But I think it has more to do with Lane Kiffin than it does with Florida.
For me, when you give Dan Mullen a really, really good quarterback, which I believe Kyle Trask to be, I saw enough of him in Tiger Stadium last year, on time, on target, great leader, good enough arm. I think he's really good. When you give him somebody like that, or like Dak Prescott, or like Tim Tebow, and he's not dealing with Chris Relf or whoever else on, he's really good on offense. And I think he's got the quarterback now. You're always going to have skill guys at Florida. I think they're just going to score a lot of points on a lot of people, and I don't think that South Carolina slows them down much on Saturday.
And they probably won't. South Carolina will probably give up between 30 and 40 points to Florida. I don't like South Carolina to win the game, but with the points, it's an interesting thing. They lost a turnover battle to Tennessee 2-0, and one of those was a pick six, and they still hang around. I mean, you give up a pick six, usually you're going to lose. And you lose a turnover battle by 2, usually you're going to lose. And they did, but they could have won. Colin Hill was a surprise starter for us. I named him the starter a week or so ago. That sort of raised some eyebrows. Threw for almost 300 yards against Tennessee. Didn't look bad. I think they can keep it within the 18. I don't think they win.
Yeah. Somebody on Twitter called him Diet Steven Garcia.
Steven? Okay. Steven Garcia had his moments.
He had one moment. He had his moment.
Yeah, but it was against Alabama.
That's
so
exactly right.
Counts double, man.
I think that was more about the hair than the actual performance on the field. But I thought it was funny nonetheless.
No, all I know is that day he was the best quarterback in the country,
and he had
day.
the best receiver in the country that day.
He very much did. Ole Miss and Kentucky, kind of a contrast in styles. Yeah. Ole Miss is a 6-point underdog going to Lexington. I'm going to save you for a second because you have some feelings to reconcile with Kentucky. So I'm going to talk to Hunt first.
I think these two teams have good head coaches. I think Lane Kiffin's a good head coach, and I think what Stoops has done has been really impressive because Kentucky realizes who Kentucky is and didn't jump ship when you had some 5-win years and a 6-win year, whatever. You got to let them lay the groundwork, and they have. And now they've got a competent football team. I don't buy them quite as much as Jacob does, but it's irrefutable that they're not what they could be on the other end, which is terrible, and they're not that. And so it's a high flying, gadget play. We're gonna have 2 quarterbacks on the field for our whole first drive. Go for it on 4th down on our first drive. Lane Kiffin against old school, hit you in the mouth, block and tackle Kentucky. It's very much a contrast in styles. I think Kentucky's probably further along as a program, but they better watch the big plays because Ole Miss will get you in some mismatches and they'll make a lot of big plays.
I think this number, as far as the line's about where it should be.
About
because
6.
I think that Kentucky will slow down Ole Miss's offense. Now you do have tape on what Hunt was talking about, some unorthodox type stuff.
He came out with 2 quarterbacks in the field the whole first drive.
And you got a book now more on Matt Corral. Now that you know he's the guy, it's not John Rice Plumlee. No, it's Matt Corral, and it's Matt Corral a majority of the time. So that bodes well for Kentucky. Now, the thing is, again, can Kentucky play comfortable as a contender? Because this is a game, you're at home, you are favored, you've got to go out there and play like it. You can't have the same mistakes that you had against Auburn that really you were in the game and you could have pulled away in that game, but you didn't because you're not ready to make those plays. Expect Kentucky to run the football more. They've got 3 really good running backs. Ole Miss is not real interested in tackling or playing defense. They'll try to control the clock to keep that high-powered Ole Miss offense off the field.
Alabama A&M.
Oh, this is going to be fun to talk about. Hunt, do you want to start?
I've been on it all summer, baby. and I'm pulling for A&M, but if
I don't even know if I can say that.
If things get going the other way, I want it to get ugly. I want the message boards on fire. I want the post-game hosts from A&M having to cut people off. I want absolute 5 alarms in College Station if things pull the other way. I have to pull against Alabama. It's my civic duty, and it's in the best interest of my school at this point.
Well said.
But if Alabama gets up 2 scores late in the third quarter, I want it to go to 4 scores, 5 scores as fast as it can go. And I think that they will blow them off. I think
that's perfectly said, because I deal with a lot of Aggie fans on our SEC show, and let me just tell you, if I heard one more time, wait until 2020. This was like 2017, and it was wait till 2020. Well, by God, 2020 is here, and you looked awful last week. We are tired. I'm tired. Are you tired of hearing about Texas A&M?
I hate Texas A&M.
Hannah, you tired of hearing about Texas A&M and what they're going to be?
Apparently, I don't run in the same circles as you guys because I don't get beat.
You must be living under a rock.
I don't get beat over the head with it. Or maybe I don't
seek it out. I seek it out.
I don't seek it out.
I don't take it seriously either. Okay, it's like every time Ole Miss says no, we're going to win a championship. I don't really take it all that seriously.
Do you buy into the fact that A&M is, to use a cliche, a sleeping giant and could be a power in the West?
Yes, because they have gobs and
exactly.
gobs and gobs of money.
That's what I'm saying. So I want them to fail. I don't want them to ever get there.
1930s, the last time they won a national championship. 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it was the year before Elvis Presley was born. So I don't care how much money you have. You can have all the money in the world. Doesn't really matter, because if you haven't won a championship since Elvis Presley was born, we've had multiple wars. We've had multiple things happen right after the Great Depression's the last time they won a national championship. I don't care how much oil there is in Texas.
See, everybody's got their triggers. Okay,
My God, money.
A&M just doesn't trigger me at all anymore. They might have when I was in high school when they had the 10-game series at high school and college, and they played it. I haven't been triggered by A&M in a long time.
It's not triggered. It's like, what are you watching?
It's not
the money thing.
What's triggered then? I mean, because
the
you
money
look pretty.
thing.
Okay.
The money thing.
All right.
The money thing bothers me. There's schools that have money.
Well, Texas has got plenty of money too. They went out and got the coach they wanted. They didn't win a national championship last year.
Money does nothing. Money's great to have. You can build buildings. You can do different stuff. But if you don't have the other stuff to go with it, they've had money since they've been a university.
It's supposed to lure.
There's a lot of oil in Texas.
It's supposed to lure good people. It's supposed to lure good people.
It's supposed to. Well, it's just supposed to do a lot of things. The Reds are supposed to score a run in the postseason, but they ain't done it yet.
No,
the Cubs are supposed to beat the Derek Jeter Marlins.
We got 2 games left to play.
They didn't beat him yesterday.
That's correct.
I'm just mostly saving my triggers, I guess, for Alabama because A&M just doesn't bother me anymore. Well, I thought it was funny the 74-72 cups and all that stuff, and they got paid back for that.
Their coach getting into their facility.
I don't hate Jimbo Fisher either. I know a lot of people do. I don't hate Jimbo.
No, of course I don't hate Jimbo. Heck, I'm sitting here because of Jimbo. He allowed me to play running back when a lot of people didn't think I could get it done.
It just doesn't trigger me anymore. I think Alabama wins the game in a walk on Saturday. But anyway, we'll take a break. Come back and wrap up hour number 2. This is Hangin' with Hester and Hanny and Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
soffrire un caffè. Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Highlander for $4,000 off MSRP. Yes, $4,000 off MSRP, and we have many in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark, Mike Detillier, Fantasy Blitz, a Vandy preview. Thursday, AFR, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hanging with Hester, Hanny, and Hunt, who's going to tell you where he didn't bring us food from today.
No food for y'all, but you can get some food. Hungry Howie's, Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus. HungryHowies.com, the Hungry Howie's app. Tell you about the great deals they've got going on during football season. If you're watching football, make Hungry Howie's part of your football weekend. 3 medium one-topping pizzas for just $5 a pizza, $15 total. If you carry out, you can get a large 2-topping pizza for $7.99. The Howie bread goes great with it. You can get a 3-cheese Howie bread. It's got Parmesan, cheddar, and mozzarella. They stuff it with all this kind of awesome stuff. You can get pepperoni stuffed Howie bread, bacon stuffed Howie bread, jalapeno stuffed Howie bread. You can get the Asiago Howie bread, Cajun Howie bread with that Tony Chachere's in it. Or if you're looking for a dessert, the cinnamon Howie bread is a great dessert after your pizza. So stop by Hungry Howie's or go to the app, set your pickup time, set your delivery location, your delivery time. They'll have it right there. Hungry Howie's, home of that delicious flavored crust pizza.
The relaxed man you see sitting to my left is Jacob Hester, because the Braves have hit a 2-run homer, and they will take at least a 3-run lead to the 9th, which means they've got enough runs to win this game and 2 more, because the Reds haven't scored yet.
I'm not celebrating yet. The guy sitting to my left did pretty much say the Reds are going to win the other day, but I'm just sitting here and
I said the Reds are good, and I still believe that, even though nothing that they did throughout the entire 60-game schedule would indicate that. Just the fact that I think they have some good players.
All on the mound.
Well, I mean, Joey Votto, Nick Castellanos, Eugenio Suarez. Theoretically, they've got some guys that can really swing it. They just haven't.
No, they haven't. Oakland and Chicago coming up. Am I the only person that would like to see Oakland win? Just because they've had so many years.
the White Sox, so yes.
I just like the White Sox because they're little brother, and they just constantly complain about the Cubs. Hawk Harrelson just for years and years and years.
You can put it on the board.
But
yeah,
the White Sox are a force.
Oh my God, I hate
and you know, it's going to be very interesting. You know who's starting for the White Sox today? That you'll remember is Dane Dunning from Florida.
Yeah.
Big arm, big right-hander who was a bullpen guy for most of his Florida career because they've got a million guys that throw 96. But he's really good, and he's a young fireballer for the White Sox against Mike Fiers, who's an older, kind of craftier guy for the A's. It's going to come down to who swings the bats. That White Sox lineup is real good.
Just so many years that Oakland has put together a real quality roster and a quality team without mega payroll and get to the playoffs and just have either a slump or there's the worst luck you've ever seen in your life, or Derek Jeter pulls the ball out of his pocket, or something like that, and
if you
they
slide,
lose.
you're safe. Yeah, I agree.
And they lose. So maybe with this goofy year, that this is the year that they were really good. Okay, I mean they had the best record in baseball for I want to say
most of the year,
the middle part, and maybe this goofy year with these goofy playoff lineup, maybe this is the year they win.
It gets real after this one. This is kind of a ball here or there. It goes either way.
Well, they got to win today.
Yeah, they got to win today, and then you get into the real deal. But the White Sox they've put together an incredibly talented roster with this rebuild by trading off Chris Sale and trading off Quintana, and they've got a ton of really good players, and we'll see what happens today.
All right, enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Sounds good. Hopefully the Cubbies are still around.
Not a chance. Hour number 3 coming straight ahead. Braves may have some more runs here, and they do. Make it 5-0.
You can put that one on the board, too.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the king of clean.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Injured Heat guard Goran Dragic and big man Bam Adebayo both listed as doubtful for Game 2 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night against the Lakers. Guard Jimmy Butler, who appeared to roll his ankle in the Game 1 loss, had a wrap on the ankle today. The Week 4 Steelers-Titans game postponed to later in the season by the NFL following 2 more positive tests for COVID-19 in the Tennessee organization. The Titans' total of positive tests currently 11, including 5 players. The Steelers and Titans don't share a bye week, and that impacts the rescheduling, explains ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
We need to bring in other teams and have them switch their bye weeks. And I would imagine that postponing this game will necessitate other changes in other team schedules to make this work for later in the season. That's just the way they'll have to be.
Adam Schefter on Greeny with Mike Greenberg. MLB playoffs, Game 2 of the wild card round on ESPN TV and the ESPN app. Braves appear to be on their way to advancing to the next round. They lead the Reds 5-0 bottom 8. And today's Cubs-Marlins game postponed because of the weather. It's been rescheduled for tomorrow at 2 Eastern.
Coming up on Friday, Game 2 of the NBA Finals is here. What can the Heat do to even the series? We'll tell you on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Friday, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 in Shreveport, the Tiger. CST and YouTube, 104.5 ESPN are hanging with Hester and Hanny. First time I've ever seen a game canceled because of sunshine up in Chicago.
It's what you've got with the Cubbies. The radar doesn't even really look like a normal day here in Baton Rouge. Like, there's always going to be some green on there, but when it's just a speck, you typically go ahead and have a first pitch.
Hunt Palmer lives for another day. Cade Wazan, Paul O'Neill, Playboy Marty in here with us for our number 3. Ed Ogeron talking about Vandy.
Coach Mason is a great defensive coach. I studied his stuff at Stanford. Kenichi Udeze, who played for me and coached here at LSU last year, is coaching the defensive line. They're very well coached. They're tough. They played Texas A&M down to the last. They threw a pick going in to score. A very tough, physical football team. I think they're much improved.
You know Udeze a little bit. Give me your thoughts on stylistically what you get from a Derek Mason defense.
Well, first off, their defensive line played fantastic. They actually graded out the highest in the Power 5 last week, so I thought they did a really nice job. And typically you're going to have a hard-nosed defense you're going against. They're going to be limited at what they can do coverage-wise. Corners and safeties is where they struggle. Front seven's always going to be their strength. They typically have a good middle Mike linebacker that's a short tackler, kind of a thumper. That's what he looks for. He wants a thumper in the middle, really good defensive line, and he'll give up some in the secondary, which is what they've done, which is what LSU was able to exploit a year ago.
Yeah, those are on that Derek Mason defense.
First of all, the way their defensive line is playing, they're playing a 4-man front. They're not a 3-4. They're a 4-2-5. They're very multiple. It all starts with their defensive line with Dale, and I don't know how to say his last name, but he's number 10. He had 7 tackles, a couple of sacks. He's a tremendous player. He's going to be an NFL player. And also Andre Mintz, defensive end. Those two guys are excellent football players.
It's kind of the scouting report, if you will, per Ed Ogeron. Like you said, all of the guys are up front for Vandy. On the other side, he had to comment on LSU's third down defense. The Tigers gave up 3rd and 9 or better 6 times in the game against Mississippi State. Obviously, Vandy doesn't have that kind of offense, but the third down defense got to be tightened up.
Third down is very critical. Today was a big third down day. And, it was a combination of scheme. It was a combination of protection. It was a combination of making decisions. And that's the money down, man. You got to make it. And then on the other side, we gave up too many plays on third down, especially that 3rd and 20. We gave up some touchdowns on third down. So we've been working all week on a much improved third down defense.
This is supposed to be where LSU can eat on third down and long with the pass rushers they've gotten. And this is without really knowing what they had in Allegay, or at least we didn't know what they had in Allegay. They were supposed to be able to rush the passer and didn't. I know schematically Mississippi State makes it difficult on you, but we didn't really see that in first game. So the Stingley addition aside, what other adjustments are you making for third down defense?
The third downs, like Ocho said, I mean, that has to be fixed. You cannot allow offenses to gain opportunities like they did in 3rd and longs. And the pressure rate was actually pretty high, but you can't just be close. It can't just be a pressure. You got to start getting to the quarterback. And I thought they did, at times, they did a nice job of that. But it comes down to covering your receiver. When you have certain situations, you have to play to the situation. Like on a 3rd and 20, you have to know exactly where your drop zone is. You can't do it short. There's a reason your drop zone is where it's supposed to be. So all those things, man, it's the money down, like Coach O said. Man, you got to concentrate. You got to be where you're supposed to be. And we didn't see that. There was times where you're out of place. We have to miss assignments on third downs if you're LSU. And you have the ability to play a true freshman quarterback in Ken Seals this week. This is a guy that coming out of high school, was a 3-star guy. He was in, I think, 21st or 22nd as far as pro-style quarterbacks coming out of high school. Okay, this is your opportunity. If you don't feast on a freshman quarterback going against you, and this is really his first time, last week to play at that level, and he goes out there and does those type of things on your third down, well, you got a bigger problem than we thought you had. You have to gain confidence. You have to feast on a young quarterback and make him make bad decisions. You're not playing a veteran potential 1st, 2nd round pick like you played last week. Not an excuse, but you have to grow considering who your opponent is this week.
The news continued to be good on Derek Stingley Jr.
First of all, Derek was sick on Friday night, and our overall thought process was his health and his safety first. And it wasn't about the game for Derek and his family. And thank God he's okay. He practiced in a gold shirt yesterday. He practiced today. As far as I know, he's going to be ready for the game.
News not as good on Dare Rosenthal?
Dare Rosenthal right now is very doubtful. He didn't practice again today. I don't think we're going to have him.
So we'll see Coy Wire in the Cam Wire, in the starting left tackle spot. Another question we had going in the game, I thought he was one of the guys that LSU could least afford to lose because I didn't think that, I don't know what the depth looks like behind him, is Liam Shanahan. Certainly they had some breakdowns on the offensive line. And there was that one particularly bad play where they came through the A-gap between he and Chase and Hines. But overall, what did you think of Shanahan's game?
I thought it was okay. Without knowing the calls, it's tough because there was some situations. The A-gap, like you mentioned, there was one when you had a B-gap, and I don't know what the call was. The guard was late getting over there. He was helping Shanahan. There was one time where they slid the opposite way of where everyone was coming, and there was just free releases at Miles Brennan. So was that Miles making the call? Was that Liam making the call? Without knowing the game plan, it's hard to tell. Those are the things that I think you have to get fixed more than anything. At no point did I think he was overpowered, overmatched. That was one of the things that we talked about coming from the the Ivy League, but you got to get in the right situation at the right times because, look, that's the mental part of offensive line and playing center. The old cliche, you're the quarterback of the offensive line. Well, they say that for a reason. So it's your responsibility to get the guys in the best possible spots. You can't have free releasers.
Coach O on Shanahan's game.
I thought Shanahan played pretty good for his first game. They made some mistakes, especially down on the goal line. They ran bare Mike, and we let the Mike right up the middle. We should have changed the protection, but it's in a hurry-up offense, so that was kind of on us. But I thought overall he did a good job. Not a great job. He needs to get better at finishing blocks and being more physical. But I think it was a little different for him playing in the SEC than Harvard for sure, so I'm proud of him.
Explain to me in layman's terms what he's talking, the specific adjustment that's supposed to be made there
on the bear front.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think how I can say this so I get in trouble on radio. Derek Dooley used to call a bear front 1,000 pounds of rear end. Let's put it that way: 1,000 pounds of rear end between the guards. But when you have that, so if you have that much in between your guards and you have 3 defensive linemen in between there, well, when you bring that, and obviously you add another one, we have to squeeze everything down. When you have a bear front, it's all about squeezing it down, and you go over that one gap. You go inside there with the guards in the center, and then you don't allow that A-gap blitzer. Then the guard ends up picking up the A-gap blitzer, and the tackle who's squeezing down, well, he gets the guy that was over you, and typically you're going to drop the other guy because if you're bringing that much pressure up the middle, that end on that other side is going to drop into coverage. And so when you squeeze down like that, he doesn't become a part of the play. And even if for some reason that they brought that other guy, well, your quarterback now can see that he throws hot off of that guy coming because they're bringing one more than they can cover.
So whose adjustment is that? Whose call is that?
Typically it'd be the center's. Okay. Typically that would be the center's call. He would call the squeeze play. Now the quarterback absolutely has the ability to do it, but if you have a center that's in sync and in chemistry with everybody else, he makes that call.
We're brought to you in part by Supreme Rice, supremerice.com, out of Crowley, Louisiana since the 1930s. A perfect complement for any meal. Support our Louisiana farmers. All Supreme Rice is grown, milled, and processed down in Crowley, southwest Louisiana. Support our southwestern Louisiana farmers. We had a really rough go of it during Hurricane Laura. For us, it's for the etouffees. It's for the rice and gravy. It's for the jambalaya. Pretty soon it'll be for the gumbo. You can get Supreme Rice at any Walmart, any Costco, all of your AG food dealers, and now at Robert's in the 5-pound Jasmine bags on Highland Road right next to Superior Grill. Listen, we know that food is important to you here in South Louisiana, and stretching that food dollar, Supreme Rice checks all the boxes. So for more information and great recipes, go to supremerice.com. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Would you like to save money every single month? Would you like to see your biggest bill reduced? Well, start with GMFSmortgage.com and sit with a licensed local counselor. They may have some better options for you than you ever imagined. Right now, with interest rates lower than they've ever been, your opportunity to reduce your monthly mortgage or to shorten the amount of time on your mortgage, the ability to skip a payment or two right now to free up some cash, all of that is on the table for you at GMFSmortgage.com. You'll start with a local counselor. They'll ask you a few questions. You'll tell them what your goals are, and from there all the way to the closing, they'll take you step by step. If you're in the market for a new home right now, you want to stop renting, or you're looking to upgrade, right now you'll have more purchasing power than ever before. So do what I did and do what thousands of others have done. Prove your financial situation and start your journey at GMFSmortgage.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about.
Join us for a Thursday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar for our Thursday night football watch party. Come watch the Broncos take on the Jets or tune in at 6 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Braves finish off the Reds. We'll move on to the next round.
First postseason series win for the Atlanta Braves since 2001.
Is it really?
Yep.
Time flies, man.
Been in a lot of postseasons, but haven't been able to get over the hump in the first round.
They were in every postseason from 2001 to 1991 to 2004 or 6.
14, I think it's 14 in a row.
Yeah, it might have been 6. One World Series, 95. One World Series win. Listen. If the worst thing I'm not a hater. If the worst thing you can say is they won a World Series, you know how many people out there didn't win a World Series? 14 division titles in a row is pretty strong.
Yeah. How about that Indians team they beat in '95? Albert Bell,
one of the
Kenny
best
Lofton,
offenses ever.
Manny Ramirez, Jim Tomei, Carlos Baerga, Sandy Alomar Jr., Omar Vizquel. Matt Williams, was he there at that point, or was it next year?
Travis Fryman?
I don't know.
Maybe. They could hit. They could hit.
Squad. I say, Sandy Alomar Jr. was catcher,
behind the plate. So news coming in that the Philadelphia 76ers have emerged as, quote-unquote, a serious candidate to hire Doc Rivers. We talked about this earlier in the week because Doc Rivers the Pelicans reached out to Doc Rivers about potentially taking the job. But Philadelphia has emerged as the most serious candidate. Now, the Sixers have also interviewed Tyronn Lue, and Ty Lue was planning to interview with the Pelicans. Unfortunately, it looks like Ty Lue is probably going to end up with the Clippers. And if Rivers ends up with the Sixers, then you're which way is up?
Yeah.
But the Pelicans have been waiting for a while, just to really get into the process. Not to say they haven't been vetting people, okay, but they were waiting for the playoffs to get deeper. They were waiting for teams to get eliminated to see what shook out. And these were obviously two of the guys that they were interested in zeroing in on. They obviously would want either one of them. Both have had a lot of success. Lou's younger of the two. They both won an NBA title, and you would like to bring them into your organization. They both became available. Rivers was let go by the Clippers. It's kind of a mutual thing, but he was let go. It had run its course there, and Lou, who had left Cleveland, was the lead guy on his bench. So now you're asked, if you offer them the Pelicans job and the Clippers job, what job are you going to take? You're going to take the Clippers job.
Yeah.
11 times out of 10. Sixers job's a little bit, I think it's a little bit harder sell. Okay. I understand that the core that they've got there has got a lot of talent. They've got some roster issues, but the Pelicans do as well. I would think that Doc Rivers, if he took the Sixers job, would look at this thing as, they've got maybe a better chance to win right away. Doc's 58, so he's not old, but he's also not a guy that's probably interested in a long rebuilding process. So if you're analyzing situations and you're Doc Rivers and you've got your choice and you got Philadelphia in the East or the Pelicans in the West. If the Pelicans were in the East and the Sixers were in the West with the exact same rosters, would Doc Rivers, would his decision be different?
I think it plays into it. What's my path to a championship, right? That's always a question. At least it should be a question of a really good coach. For me, this is just me personally. The Sixers job is toxic. That environment to me is toxic. I wouldn't want any part of it. You've got really good players there, but they do not seem like they're on the same page. Just discombobulated at all points for me. I don't know what's appealing to a job outside of.
The toughest thing to do in the NBA is to acquire the superstar. If you're starting from scratch, it's to acquire the superstar. They got two. All right. Maybe they don't play well together. Maybe one of them's been playing out of position. Maybe they're not the best fit in the playoffs with the roster they've got going, but they got two superstars. They got two top 10 talents in the NBA. That's hard to that's hard to acquire.
Right.
I mean, if you're starting from scratch, it's very, very difficult. To get that, they had to tank for multiple years. And to do that, they had to miss on some guys. I mean, they drafted Markelle Fultz instead of Jason Tatum, okay? And they still ended up with two guys that are first all-stars, okay? These guys are two of the top 10, 15 players in the NBA. So I understand why. It's just a little
but when
bit
when you look at their roster, Hanny, when you look at who they have, does it appeal you more than what the Pelicans can be? Because yes, I understand what they have, but just because you have stars, like the Oakland Raiders, a lot of times in the early 2000s, well, they had stars. They had individual players that were really, really good. But as a team, they stunk. And so this team doesn't stink, but this team, as it's constructed right now, will never win a championship.
No, you gotta fix some things, but you got the two stars. If the two stars play at a superstar level, and they're not as old as LeBron James and Anthony Davis, okay, collectively. So if you build around them properly, you can do it. The biggest problem on that roster, well, is two, is the money they got wrapped up in Al Horford and Tobias Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Jimmy Butler would have signed back there or not. You get different opinions on that. They had traded a significant amount of capital for Tobias Harris, and they felt like they needed to keep him. I didn't understand the signing of Al Horford at the time, not because Horford's not a really, really good player, but I didn't quite see with Joel Embiid on that team where bringing Horford in was going to be the key to their offensive success, not in today's NBA. No, if you get two superstars that are playing at a superstar level, Now, talk to Mr. Simmons about his jump shot, but if they're playing at a superstar level, then you can fill in the pieces around them. We watched Denver, okay? You had Joker and Jamal Murray, and you placed some guys around them that were nice players but not stars. Getting the stars is the hardest part. So, do you think that the Pelicans have 2 stars now? Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. Okay. Yeah, you could say that for sure. And maybe you even have more pieces around them, but you're also in the West.
I'm surprised, and this isn't a homer take because, I'm rooting for the Pelicans, but the Pelicans aren't my team. This is just me observing it. The Pelicans roster would be intriguing to me if I'm a coach. I know I'm in the West, but hey, you know what? Eventually you're going to have to play a team in the West in the playoffs regardless if you
It's still an attractive job. I'm just a little bit bummed at the top guys at the list.
And I am too, because I thought that they would jump at the chance to have a young roster that you could kind of mold in your own way.
Yeah.
And you saw so much improvement from some of the players. And you have pieces that if I'm a coach and I'm a true competitor, I want to get the most out of Lonzo Ball. I'm going to be the guy that gets the most out of Lonzo Ball. If they do end up trading Drew Holiday, well, I'm going to get another young asset, or maybe I get a proven veteran, depending on where I want to go. I've got things I can move. I got things I can prove. I've got already proven commodities, the most improved player in the NBA. If I can keep Zion healthy, there's a lot to like there, and there's a lot that you would have a say-so in doing. So I'm surprised that the top names aren't looking a little bit heavier at the Pelicans.
There are people that believe that this is moving in the Jason Kidd direction, and that makes me nervous because Kidd has said a number of times he is more comfortable with a veteran roster, and that sort of fits the description of superstar player turned coach. They're not always the best developers of young talent. Okay, people like Jason Kidd see the game in a way that almost nobody else does. I mean, he's one of the greatest point guards to ever play. Doesn't always translate to developing talent. In fact, most of the time, it's sort of the journeyman players that become the better coaches. Okay, there's some exceptions. Lenny Wilkins was a Hall of Famer, but
more Phil Jacksons than
more Phil Jacksons and Pat Rileys than Lenny Wilkins. So Kid's still very early in his coaching career, so I don't know, but that part makes me nervous. I still like the name Kenny Atkinson. I still think that is, with his ties to Trajan Langdon from back in their time in Brooklyn, they did build a group from the ground up, and they had to do it with all of the baggage left over from the disastrous trade for Garnett and Pierce and Jason Terry when they unloaded all of those draft choices for guys that were well past their prime. So I still like that name, but they were waiting, okay? They reached out to Rivers.
Yeah.
Look, Philadelphia looks like they're in the lead. Reached out to Lou. Looks like the Clippers are in the lead. And I get that.
I get that one.
That's easy. So we'll see where they go from here.
I think we can all agree we trust the front office and the people in charge of the Pelicans so much more than if this was a decision made in the past.
Yes.
They've got some of the best basketball minds, most well-respected basketball minds that you will find. And so I'm okay with them taking their time. I truly am. I want to see them, instead of just going to get, the Knicks. They get Tibbs back. Well, I didn't really love that one. There's some other candidates that emerge after that I wish you would wait a little bit. We've seen in 2020 in sports, being patient pays off more times than it doesn't.
And I'm fine with patience. I am a little bit concerned that the guys that they were patient for look like they may decide to go somewhere else. We'll take a break. Back on the other side, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Garcia Roofing. One of the things I want to point out, free roof inspection. That is key because they're going to take a look at your project and tell you exactly what you need, and they're not going to cut corners. So that's what they did for me. I made the call, got a free roof inspection, free. It is free for them to come out and check out exactly what you need. And then once they tell you everything you need, it's not going to be just a quick fix. No, they're going to tell you exactly what you need. They're going to do it the right way. You're going to get that Garcia guarantee when you deal with Garcia Roofing, Hanny.
Roof repair, roof replacement, roof cleaning, and no job is too small. You can roof now and pay later. Your Baton Rouge roofing experts, they didn't get to be the largest residential roofing company in South Louisiana without an awful lot of success. Roofing, siding, gutters, roof now and pay later. Get your free estimates right now. Call 225-756-3100 or go online to GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford.
Coming up on Tuesdays Off the Bench, it's game week, and Coach O stops by to break it down.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Today's show brought to you in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, with 4 locations helping you deal with pain, from auto accidents to sports injuries to sometimes just some aging. Will give you some aches and pains. Trust me, I can attest to that. Herniated disc, muscle and ligament strains, neck or back discomfort. Let them ease your suffering through a series of therapeutic exercises or stretches. Techniques like dry needling, electric nerve stimulation, cryotherapy, and ultrasound therapy. 4 locations of Louisiana Health and Injury Centers: 13406 Airline Highway, 2832 Plank Road, 467 Oak Plaza Boulevard in Bruley, and now on Jefferson Highway near Drusilla, with easy access from both I-10. Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Dr. Michael Goff. Report from Saints practice that Marcus Davenport is not there again today. Getting old, right?
Missing in action, yeah, for sure.
It's getting old. He's oh man.
And then when Cam Jordan gets off to a slow start, and you wonder what would it be if you had another threat on the other side. So it starts to pile up, not just because you're out, but even the guys that it affects when you're not in. It's not just yourself.
He's entering in the Cedric Ellis territory here. And Cedric Ellis was a very good player for the Saints
same
for
year
a
as me.
very
Yeah.
short period of time. And he quit the game early, which was, hey, look, you want to retire early, that's up to you. He was a very good player on their Super Bowl team, but that was about it. There was a lot of left one. I'm not going to put him in the Jonathan Sullivan category, but a lot of people will want to because they traded 2 first-round picks for Sullivan. You thought I had a conniption fit on draft night. This night, you should have seen me that night. Because I had
I would have loved to see.
I
I
about lost my mind.
I even saw you when they traded for Davenport. We were doing the draft show.
I wasn't over the moon about it. I understood what they were trying to do. I don't like. There are so few people in the NFL that I consider worth 2 first-round draft picks, and if I don't know, it makes it so much more difficult. I mean. Yeah, there's guys in the league that I would trade 2 first-round draft choices for.
I can kind of count them though.
But there's not a lot of them, okay? And every time you say that, what if the picks are bust? Well, if the picks are busting, your front office sucks anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 guys who ought to be cheap starters for 5 years. Okay, that's invaluable to me. So if you want me to trade you 2 of those, you better really be something. And he ain't really been something. And now they can't even get him on the field.
I'm not trying to go back and get like a draft analyst on the pick because you can't get him on the field, so what's it matter? But anytime I have an elite rusher, it's hard for me to pull the trigger if I haven't seen him against an elite tackle.
What about the postseason stuff with him? Because they played up that in a big way, right? I mean, that he had shown out good with, I don't know, was it Senior Bowl practices or was it
It was
another All-Star game or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's a good week, but I need to see it week in and week out. So, but we got to get him on the field before we can even have that conversation. There's been so much missed time in his career already. Still a young player, not saying he can't turn it around, but man, can't make the club in the tubs a saying for a reason.
Yeah, you gave up so much for him, and I've just never been a fan of giving up 2 first-round picks. Now, the Saints have done a good job of moving up for some players. Okay, it has worked.
Almost got Mahomes.
The Alvin Kamara deal was a great deal.
Yeah.
The Eric McCoy deal looks like a fantastic deal. I mean, we had somebody in the Bayou 4 chat earlier saying they should have taken Queen and Cushenberry instead of Bond and Ruiz. But Lloyd to me is always going to be a center. Ruiz, I think, can play guard, which made a little bit more sense. I think McCoy was a great pick.
Yep.
They got their money's worth there. He looks like the guy that's going to anchor that offensive middle for the next 10 years. So I was okay with that pick. But for Davenport, you got a team that desperately needs any kind of defensive help that they can get right now. And you wonder what a better pass rush would how it would affect the secondary. It can't possibly do anything but help.
Hendrickson's been okay. I mean, he's had a couple sacks. He's had some pressures. But again, we talked about it with LSU, right? When you're a 3 and you get elevated to a 2, well, that messes up the 1, right? That messes up the 2 who's going to get elevated to the 1, all those type of things. When you move up a peg, well, it messes everything up, not just your position. So if Hendrickson was just a 3 and you allowed him to be a rotational piece, well, then that changes your defense because now he's able to come in and he's able to do different things because he's not playing the whole game. And so it just messes up everything. And I think Cam Jordan's feeling the effects of it.
I don't think there's any question that that's true. So if he's not practicing today.
No Marshawn Lattimore, no Jared Cook either.
Right. I'm just not real confident he's going to play on Sunday. I suppose he could practice tomorrow and get on the plane and go, but I'm not holding my breath.
Saints tight end room right now, it's extremely thin.
Oh yeah, who's it's Troutman and
Troutman's gonna be the guy.
Troutman and really Taysom, right?
Yeah.
I mean, tight end sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that line in Detroit? Still a 4-point favorite? Okay. I was just asking.
If Marshawn Lattimore doesn't go, which look, we're here on a Thursday. If he's not at practice, that doesn't look great.
They
Come out
signed.
secondary
They had
a little
re-signed
bit.
earlier in the week. They signed Ken Crawley back to the
Yeah.
practice squad, so they were concerned. He's a guy that's played for him a little bit in the past. Okay, all positive Friday tomorrow, so we get all this out of the way today.
How long ago does that seem like we had our no COVID Friday?
Hey, we have been able to move on though from a lot of COVID topics. So we didn't touch on it today, but the Steelers and the Titans have been canceled for this weekend. So they're going to reschedule that somewhere later in the year. We knew this was coming. That's like having their bye week, right? Playboy Marty, they had already made the decision if they were going to play on Monday or Tuesday about what they were going to do in the fantasy leagues, and everybody else is making their decision. So, yeah. So now you ended up like a bye week. Probably, if you heard Schefter at the top of the hour, it's probably going to be something involving other teams where you're going to have to switch around some bye weeks. So they knew that. They knew that was coming. They're now working through the process. By the way, going to be with Playboy Marty, Mincy, Roscoe tonight at Jolie Pearl, subbing in for Jimmy for the next few Thursdays while EJ's playing some high school football. So I'll be down there tonight. We'll come down and have some oysters and a cold one and a great game. Well, Broncos Jets.
Great game. The NFL lives here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Competitive game. Hey, the records are equal.
That's true.
The records are equal. They're equally 0-3.
Where's the otter son playing at?
Episcopal.
Okay.
Episcopal.
Me and Flynn actually gave them the little pregame speech talk before the playoff game last year. I think they won it too.
Did they win?
They did.
Okay. Well, then
we should have come back the next week.
You're hired.
There we go.
You get your 4 weeks in a row. Ask Us is next when we come back in the Bayou Ford chat. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you every single day by our title sponsor here, Richards Honda. You can always find them online at richardshonda.com. We've been telling you about the buy from home option on the website. It's incredibly easy. It's right there in the top left corner, and then it's a 7-step process. You select your vehicle, you unlock the lowest price and payments, you give them a little bit of information. They're going to send you a virtual garage key code. Once you get into that virtual garage, you can kind of explore all the options. You can compare up to 4 vehicles in this virtual garage. And then step 7, you schedule that delivery or pickup. That's right. They can deliver it right to your door, or you can go stop by 13413 Millaville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge, I-12 and Millaville. They are cleaning this place twice a day, overnight. It is incredibly safe for you to go check out over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles. And no matter what you're looking for, no matter what your lifestyle calls for, I can promise you they've got it over at Richards Honda. Again, richardshonda.com. And as always, Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jenkins, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark, Mike Detillier, Fantasy Blitz, a Vandy preview. Thursday, AFR, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Are you warm and fuzzy over there?
No.
I didn't think you were.
Not at all.
That's why you got to drink 36 cups of coffee.
I'd be up until the Reds scored a run.
Out of my vintage mug. Well, you're going to be up till next year because they're gone, baby. Holla at your boy.
Let's start calling this the reptilian room. A little bit cold-blooded. All right, ask us in the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube. Chris says, should David Griffin take a chance on Becky Hammond or Dawn Staley as the first female head coach? Becky Hammond is going to be a head coach very, very soon. Yep. I think she's sort of been ordained to be the first female head coach. If Kenny Atkinson doesn't work out, I'd be completely fine with it. I'd be happy to take a look.
Whoever they think the most qualified person for the job is. Now, Dawn, stud interview, by the way. If you ever have a chance to catch up with her, she is fantastic. But making the jump from college to pro, that applies in every sport, not just football. That's a very difficult jump.
Ask us. All right, this is Ask Jake. Okay, this is a lie. All right, I'm going to read this, but this is a big lie.
Okay.
This is from Craig Schilling.
All right, say Craig.
Notorious pot stirrer. Said Hanny recommended on Tiger Zone last night that LSU run more toss lead against Vandy. That is not what I said. Okay, here's what I said: is that if you are not going to have the quarterback as a threat to run, then the read option really doesn't do you a whole lot of good. So you just soon get the ball in the back's hands a little bit faster. And I think I did say something like, like toss lead. No, that's not what I meant. But if you're going to run play action and the quarterback's never going to keep it, okay, run the doggone stretch play. I mean, give me if Miles Brennan's going to just hand the ball off every time, there's no use in the read part of the option.
I heard what you just said, run 48, 49 horn balls, because that's what that play is called.
Can we get that with like a circle and a line through it?
That's what I heard.
That? Okay. Ask us, is the start of the LSU and Saints another thing we chalk up to 2020? We're just chalking things up to 2020 that we don't like.
I can honestly say, though, the feeling after an LSU loss has been different than normal losses. I don't know if that's because of 2019 LSU or 2020 the world.
Yeah. Take your best guess. Ask us, if someone predicts the score of LSU winning 30-24, what are they looking at?
If LSU only beats Vandy 30-24?
If LSU gives up 24 points to Vanderbilt, we got to talk.
We got to have a real conversation, because it's territory if that happens. Unless if that happens. If that happens, period.
What are they looking at? The turnovers from the A&M game is all I can tell you. Ask us, favorite homemade cookie.
It's a great question. My wife makes a Toll House cookie that is fantastic. The secret is she uses Splenda instead of sugar because it makes them fluffier.
Okay. Chocolate chips got to be the standard here, but you make a good macadamia nut
See, if I'm going curveball, I'm going peanut butter cookie.
Okay, that's also strong. Ask us if the two of you had a mustache growing competition for November. How big of a head start would Hanagriff need to compete with Hester? And the answer is we don't have enough time.
Hanny, can we please do that?
No.
Can we please? Everybody,
I did it during the pandemic.
Everybody in this room, mustache only for November. Come on, Marty's with me.
Marty's got a mustache.
Well, no, he's got a beard.
Everybody, there's sort of a mustache
Hanny,
over there.
Do it.
You
do it.
You know how much crap I'm going to take over that at my house, okay?
But if
the boss ain't on board,
but if it's for the greater benefit of the show, I think she would allow it.
There's some charity work involved in this.
I'll donate.
All right. Ask us, does Vandy's defense give LSU problems this Saturday?
No. If LSU does not play well on offense, it's because of what they did. Again, Mississippi State won the game on offense. There was nothing defensively, in my opinion, watching the tape, again, almost 3 times now. There's nothing Mississippi State did that won them that game on defense.
Ask Playboy Marty, who you got first round tomorrow for game time at 11 a.m.?
Okay, I looked at the question, and I think he's asking if I'm going to buy his round.
Oh, okay.
Because I was trying to figure out what game that meant. And if you come and give Barry the bartender a hard time, I will buy you whatever you want.
Okay. I don't live in that world anymore, but I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm going to be late tomorrow.
Okay. Maybe, Kay, you start the show without us tomorrow. Ask us opinions on the Reveille putting Brennan on the cover is the reason LSU lost. I hadn't seen a Reveille.
Is it like the Sports Illustrated curse now, which I'm a full believer in? I've been on the cover one time in my life on Sports Illustrated. You know what the next week was? A loss to Kentucky in triple overtime.
I didn't see the I didn't see the cover story, so not sure. Ask us who will Vandy look to pick on let's see.
Who will Vandy pick on?
Will Vandy look to pick on 5 and 26? That's Evans and Ward.
Trust me, after last week, I know who that is. It's going to look different. They'll be in different positions than I think you saw them in a week ago with Derek Stingley coming back. So that's LSU's task, right? Put them in spots to succeed because right now Evans not ready to play outside corner in the SEC. Could he play somewhere else? We'll see in this game.
Ask us, besides sports and your jobs, what's the biggest priority in your life?
Besides sports and your jobs? Oh, it's my family.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all know me.
Sure.
Look, I spend probably too much time getting like game plans ready for my son's football team because he cares about it. Like if my sons or my wife, if they care about something, then it becomes my priority as well.
Right. Ask us, do you prefer to text, call, or talk to face? Now, this greatly depends on context. Okay. If I would put them in this order, if it's something business related that can be answered, if it not even business related, if it's something that can be answered in one statement, then I would greatly prefer to text. Yeah. If it's, hey, meet me there at 9, and somebody sends you back the thumbs up, being able to text that rather than having to call somebody and saying, "Oh, are you going to be there at 9?" is invaluable. Okay, so if I can get the answer to what I need, if it's a call that I need something or somebody needs something from me, like, can you be on the show, or can you be on my show, or can we meet here? Greatly prefer text.
Okay. I'm going to throw a little bit of a different one at you. I love a good voice text. Like you can leave the message and it goes away after a little bit. I love that as well. Now I'm a texter for sure. Like face-to-face more than phone. I hate talking on the phone. Nothing I hate more actually than talking on. But I started doing it because Phillip Rivers is a voice texter, and we are really obnoxious with our accents. Like we try to be the countryest we can whenever we talk to each other.
Trying to trip up the phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like some of those, like I enjoy doing stuff like that.
But if it's a personal conversation, then I'd much rather be face-to-face. If it's somebody that you got to talk to about something more than just, hey, are you going to be at the game on Saturday, that kind of thing. I'd much rather prefer face-to-face. Ask us, do we see any Wildcat quarterback this weekend?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
Who would be your option?
If they ran Wildcat?
Who would they trust to run Wildcat right now? John Trey Kirkland?
Well,
you're not trusting. I don't think any of the running backs have that skill set. And again, I don't.
What are we doing with the Wildcat? Are we
set
talking about direct snaps? Are we talking about direct snaps?
A true Wildcat. Miles Brennan's out there split out wide.
A true Wildcat quarterback, nothing. If you're going to do a straight,
Jontre's the only one to me.
Yeah, there's none of that. And now, if you're going to do a direct snap, then to me, Ty Davis Price is the thumper, because the whole idea behind a direct snap is you've got an extra blocker, and it's going to be put a hat on a hat, and then I want the big guy in
a
there.
Direct snap, you're running zone because you get that extra blocker because your quarterback's going to go cut off the backside. I really don't want Miles doing that either.
Ask us, do you dislike double numbers? Two guys with the same number. It's stupid. I'm not
It's stupid.
I'm not a huge fan of it. When they talk about retiring numbers, okay, some teams have retired numbers and they run into problems with they don't have enough numbers, so they put one guy on offense, one guy on defense. In college football, we haven't run into that at LSU. That's why I prefer a Ring of Honor to actually retiring the numbers in most cases. And no, I don't like double numbers. I thought of all the things Les Miles did, the thing that maybe aggravated me more than anything, just because it was so trivial and so bush league, was putting all the same numbers on the punters. I just thought it was absolutely childish and bush league. It drove me. We're going to put all the punters at 38 and we'll fool somebody. No, you imbecile. That's not.
That triggered you.
That it did. I don't know why. It just aggravated the hell out of me. I thought it was. I'm not calling Miles an imbecile. I'm saying it's the most imbecilic thing he did, to think that he would gain an advantage by putting multiple punters and kickers in the same number.
I've been in situations because the coach has promised a recruit the number.
Yeah.
And we had a deal on special teams where we ran into two guys were going to have to go in the game at the same time. They were the same number, one on offense, one on defense, but they couldn't because they had the same number. So for that reason, I've never been a big fan of it.
Ask Jacob, how impactful was the band to the energy of the team at LSU?
Solid. The band was
solid.
solid.
Was solid. Okay, we're all in it. Ask us, what's the one thing you would change about yourself?
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I had a girl that I call. I wish I had a rabbit and a hat. Oh, okay.
That. For Cade Wazan, for Playboy Morty, for Paul O'Neill and Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Thank you. Good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney